All right, hello everybody. We're now being joined by Daniel Weichel. If you have any questions, go ahead and use the raise hand button now. We'll start with Donna Corby. Your line is live. Donna?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hey, sorry about that. Daniel, it's been a crazy few months since you were supposed to fight this exact bout back in March. Can you talk me through what has been going on for you in these last few months?
Yes, first of all, it was very strange to fly back without fighting, and it is what it is, and it was also a very strange situation coming home. I know that first the fight was cancelled, something I focused on the last couple of months, and from then on I had to adapt to a complete different situation, like it was with the pandemic, and the gym was closed, the whole life around us changed a lot. The gym was closed for 2 months, so also life and training looked way different, and but I definitely kept the focus, and I kept the focus for this fight. Even right after it, I kept my diet straight, I kept my mind straight for this fight, and I tried to, even without the gym, I tried to prepare, to stay in shape, and to be ready anytime to fight.
Emmanuel Sanchez is, like we said, he's the person who has been at the forefront of your mind. For you to get to the featherweight title, you have to beat this guy, and this has been the case for, like we said, 6-7 months. How do you feel about this man going into Thursday night?
To be honest, I'm really not thinking too much about him. All this thinking about him is basically in the past. What I try to focus on, especially most of the time, is about myself and to get myself on 100% to perform the way I want to perform. I keep my focus. I focus on my training, on my weight cut, on everything that I need to do to perform at my best. And this is what brings me the victory.
Thank you, buddy.
Steve? Steve Jr., your line is live.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you, Daniel, for the time today. We talked back in March before the pandemic forced the card to be postponed. And you told me you and your team were doing all the right things, good hygiene. Nobody was working out with you if they were sick. How disappointed were you then that despite all your best efforts, the show still got postponed?
Obviously, we always do everything we can to get the fight going, to make it happen. But there are things in his life we can't control, and this is one of it. And I think there are many situations in life that we can't control, but we have the thought that we would. So this was just another situation where we got shown, hey, there are other things in life happening that we can't control, and this is one of it. But outside of that, I always try to be present in the moment and try to do everything according to my plans, to my goals, and to my dreams. So this is today no different. I prepare for fighting, for war, and I'm doing my best.
I know you told Donna that the gym was closed for a couple of months back home, but is there any possibility that if you were still working out, even with the gym closed, that you might have overtrained or gone past your peak?
Yeah, there's always an issue. But I try to manage in the last couple of years to listen very well to my body, and when my body tells me to get some rest, to take it. And especially having a daughter is a good motivation to take some rest at some time, because it's the best quality time we have.
All right, we'll go to Garrett.
Hi, Daniel. Gareth A. Davis calling from London. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks, I'm doing good. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Good to see you. Look very well. You look very fit. The beard's looking good. I just wanted to ask you, obviously it was a 3-round fight last time with Emmanuel over 4 years ago. Does a 5-round fight make a different approach? It is 5 rounds this time, I'm assuming, yeah? Does a 5-round fight make a different approach for you?
Yes, it is definitely a different thing, 5-round fight compared to a 3-round fight. So in preparation, we always simulate this a lot, that I'm going through these 5 rounds and always get the mindset for 5 rounds. When I'm doing regular preparation for a 3-round fight, you know how you keep your energy going in these 3 rounds. The goal is, or what I'm focusing on is, I want to go these 5 rounds and leave it all out there. I don't want to go out of the 5th round, and I don't want to say, I could go a 6th round, I could go a 7th round. This is, because this is senseless. I want to go in there and I want to leave it all out there. This 25 minutes, I will leave all my energy to beat Emmanuel Sanchez.
Obviously, you want to win the title and you want to avenge your loss to Patricio Pitbull in the final and win the $1 million. But obviously, you want to ring the belt, as I say. But what would you do with the $1 million? Everyone thinks about those things. It's a little bit like winning the lottery, but obviously you're winning the title. So what would you do with the $1 million?
Yeah, you're right. Definitely, you definitely get this in your mind a couple of times. But first of all, I want to say, you know, I thought about this a lot, and I don't want to make it the major motivation for me, because when I look where I get my motivation from, where it all started, and when I was starting with MMA, it was not about money. It was about the passion. It was about the love for the game, and this is what I try to keep every time when I step on the mats, when I step into this cage. But definitely $1 million makes it way sweeter with passion combined. And I think I will create a lot of great memories. I want to spend much time with my family. I want to visit all the places in the world I want to see. I want to show my daughter, my family, the world. I want to do all the things that I want to do in life to create special memories for my family and myself.
And then finally, Daniel, if you won the belt back and you won the $1 million, is there any chance, I mean, you're still only 35, but I think it's your 52nd fight. Is there any chance you would call it a day, that you would retire, or is there still much more to come from you?
There's also a question that I ask myself a couple of times, because you get this asked questions many times from reporters and everybody. And the main thing for me is to enjoy what I'm doing. And right now, I enjoy this to the fullest, with all my heart, with all my passion. I enjoy every step on this journey, even self-isolation, sitting on the hotel, cutting weight. I enjoy every single part of it. And I will definitely enjoy fighting a Thursday night. This is for sure. But on this day, when this is over, then also my career is over. But until I enjoy it the way that I'm enjoying it right now, and my body is healthy the way it is, I won't stop.
Great to see you. Best of luck on Thursday night. Sorry we can't be there.
Yeah, it would be great to have the audience, the atmosphere, all you guys there. But yeah, I will put on a show for you, definitely. Thank you.
We'll get the job done, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go to Jay Anderson.
Thanks very much. And Daniel, welcome back. Got 2 quick questions for you. First of all, were you surprised, given how much is on the line in this Grand Prix, that it wasn't the first thing back when Bellator returned to action in July?
Yeah, to be honest, it was very hard to figure out what was happening and when to fight next and what was the plans. It definitely was, I know that were challenges to bring fighters to the US from 3 different countries outside of US. So that's one thing that's not in my hands. So I don't think about this too much.
And just another quick one. In terms of the time off, I know it's been talked about a bit, but were there any benefits in terms of just healing up from any nagging injuries that you had, anything like that?
Of course, definitely. I felt like this was the first time, maybe in the last 20 years, that I haven't been on the mats for 2 months. 2 months, and it felt strange. Yeah. I mean, I enjoyed it. I spent a lot of time outside and in the nature, and I really enjoyed it. But I knew it's something that wasn't there the last 20 years, and it was strange, but it was good. I took the good out of it, and but at the same time, I was very happy to step back on the mats.
We'll go to Santiago, followed by Ben Allen.
Hi Daniel, guten Tag and greetings from Amsterdam. You were so close to winning the featherweight title back in 2018. A lot of people thought you won that fight. Did you think the same?
I know it was a close fight, and I thought more about the mistakes that I did in this fight that would make it a much clearer decision for the judges, or even a stoppage when I got this anaconda choke. So these are more the things that went through my mind looking back to this fight. And now I'm here, having all possibilities in this world to do it again and to create the future new.
Bellator has never visited Germany. A couple of German fighters really performed well in the last couple of weeks, like Alan Omer and Mandy Böhm. Would you like Bellator to visit Germany next year and put up a big event?
That's always one thing when I meet Scott Coker, when I ask him, bring Bellator to Germany, we will put on a great show for all the fans in Germany and around the world. Germany is a great country for MMA, and the MMA was growing so much in the last couple of years, and would be just great to have Bellator as one of the greatest organizations for MMA in Germany, and it would be my honor to represent Frankfurt, Germany.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Ben?
Hi, Daniel. So you obviously took a split decision over Emmanuel Sanchez back in 2016. And from that fight, do you think that you know everything that he's going to bring to the table, or do you expect him to be a completely different fighter in there on Thursday?
Not a complete different fighter, but he definitely involved as a fighter. But his movement game is, I think it's pretty much the same. He puts on a lot of pressure. He tried to put the pace on. And that's the changements that I think that he did. But I involved much more as a fighter, and I feel compared to our last fight, I'm definitely a complete different fighter. But also from March this year, I involved a lot, and I took this time to work on certain things. And I try to become a better fighter every day.
And just one more from me. Obviously, in the main events, we have the other quarterfinal of the Featherweight Grand Prix between a man you know very well in the champ, Patricio Pitbull, and Pedro Carvalho. Do you have a prediction for that fight?
I think Pitbull will go with the victory. Yes.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
All right, our last question for Daniel comes from Matthew Putterman.
Hey, Daniel, thank you for joining us today. I got to ask you, what is your biggest attribute as being a fighter?
I think it's my passion. My passion, because out of my passion, everything builds up. My mental strength, my motivation to train, my motivation to improve. It's all based out of the passion that I have for the sport. And out of that grows the desire to become the best version of myself and the best fighter that can possibly be. Because what is this passion for when you don't use it to build something? And this passion was even 20 years ago in my life, and I'm thankful and blessed to have this even right now and to carry it with me to Ann Caswell, to Mohegan Sun, and to Thursday Night.
All right. Thank you very much, Daniel. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
And we will be back in just a minute with Khonry Gracie. We're now being joined by Conor Gracie. If you have any questions, go ahead and use the raise hand button. We will get started with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Mr. Gracie, thank you for the time today. It has been over a year since we saw your fight with Oscar Vera. It was a very dominant first round win for you with a submission. Obviously, you probably didn't plan to be off for this long, but what has it been like in this last year for you training, and what has changed for you?
I mean, everything has just slowed down pretty much, because of rules and regulations, especially in the state of California where I live. It's become very minimum, very much almost like a private class scenario where it's maybe one-on-ones or, two-on-ones type of thing. But other than that, I've never really stopped training. It's just been minimal.
All right. How do you plan on continuing the long and storied Gracie legacy in this fight with Trevor Good?
Well, I mean, if I told you what was going to happen, man, if I could predict the future like that, I say let's go to Vegas.
I understand. But any thoughts on him as an opponent before I let you go?
I mean, he is a very tall, he is a very lengthy guy, so I will have to keep an eye out for that, definitely.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to Matthew.
Hey, brother, how you doing today?
Hey, how are you?
Hey, good. My question is to you. Of course, you're coming from the Gracie lineage, of course. What do you prefer more, training in the gi, like traditional gi, or training no-gi jiu-jitsu?
I personally like to keep it very traditional. I like to train in the gi. But again, it just depends on the scenario, depends what you're training for. Even for an MMA fight, I'll stay about 50%, 60% of the time in a gi. But as closer we get to the fight, I have to start taking the gi off and, start wearing the shorts and stuff like that, and t-shirts, just because it's more realistic.
Most definitely. That's all I got for you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, move on to Dunna.
Hey, mate, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad. Physically, how are you feeling at the moment? I know you've had a couple of injuries now. How are you doing physically?
I'm doing good. I'm doing really good. This is gonna be a good fight.
You were out of the last one with some sort of an injury. Could you explain to us what exactly happened there and how your recovery has gone?
It was an injury, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But it's going good. This is gonna be a good fight, like I said.
What's next for you if you win this fight? Obviously, with people like yourself who have names coming into the sport, will always be talked about as, pushing up the ranks, maybe jumping spots from other fighters. What do you see as next for you after supposedly you win on Thursday?
well, I'll fight anybody Bellator puts in front of me. So, after I win this Thursday, we'll see what the next plan is, where we're going to go from here.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, of course.
All right, move on to Santiago.
Hello, Mr. Gracie. Boa tarde. Greetings from Amsterdam. Is your father going to be in your corner?
Yes, of course. He's always in my corner.
And the last thing for me, do you think jiu-jitsu and MMA is a different thing? And what do you think about the evolution of jiu-jitsu in this modern MMA game?
Well, I think that in order for you to successfully practice MMA, you need to know some kind of jiu-jitsu, right? You can't go into a fight without learning boxing, because how are you going to, throw punches? It doesn't, or kickboxing or Muay Thai, you understand what I'm saying? So I think in order to complete your full MMA circle, jiu-jitsu has to be one of the martial arts that you don't need to practice all the time, but you do need to learn. Even if it is minimal, like I said.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
Good, Ben.
Hi, Khonry. So I heard in the past somewhere that you've been doing a lot of boxing training with the great Freddie Roach. Number one, how did that come around? And with the pandemic going on, when was the last time you were able to actually get any work in with him?
Well, actually, I trained at Freddie Roach's gym, but I trained under a guy named Marvin Somodillo, who is kind of like Freddie Roach's apprentice in a way. He learned everything from Freddie. We've been doing one-on-ones, so just private lessons, private classes, just because of the pandemic, and I can't really go to any gyms currently. So.
Okay. And as we just mentioned there, you've obviously trained in every single aspect of mixed martial arts thoroughly, but obviously the Gracie name is synonymous with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I'm sure you've been rolling since you were in diapers. Do you feel obligated to go in there and fight the Gracie way, or do you just want to go in there and show the full range of your skill sets?
I don't feel obligated to fight the Gracie way. I just choose to, I prefer to use Jiu-Jitsu than any other martial art.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, our final question will come from Simon Romero.
Hey, Khonry, how's it going today?
Good, how are you?
I wish I was doing as well as you, but I have this one question here. Who wins the jiu-jitsu matches here, you or Dad?
It'll always be him. He'll always have a trick up his sleeve.
So they're never close at all?
No, never.
All right, perfect. So that's all I have for you today. Good luck on Thursday night.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Khonry.
Thanks.
We'll be back shortly with Yaroslav Amosov.
Ooh. Yaroslav Amosov.
Am I live?
Yeah, you're live.
Okay, Yaroslav, thank you for the time today. And my first question for you is, You faced some very tough competition already in Bellator on your way to 24-0. Fought guys like Ed Ruth and David Rickles. How do you compare Logan Storley to them?
Что я думаю, да? Как ты сравниваешь Логан Сторли с теми соперниками, которыми ты уже бился здесь в Bellator?
Hello. I think it's a good fighter. Yes. I think all fighter Bellator is good fighters, but this opponent have good wrestling. But I think my wrestling don't на русском скажу. Я считаю, что каждый соперник это тяжелый соперник, и под каждого нужно готовиться по-своему. Логан Сторли это хороший парень, который имеет хорошую борьбу, и да, я встречался с, наверное, похожими борцами. Так как уже назвали Эдрут, хотя по званиям у него выше звания по борьбе, но все же борьба и борьба в ММА – это разные вещи. Но я готов к любой борьбе и готов вообще выходить и драться.
I think every opponent I've had in Bellator was tough. I had to prepare for every one of them. In a particular way. As you mentioned, I have fought wrestlers like Ed Ruth, and even though on paper Ed Ruth actually has more accolades than Logan Storley, but you know, everybody's different, and Logan is a different wrestler and a different fighter. But MMA wrestling and freestyle wrestling aren't the same thing, and he feels like his MMA wrestling is on par with anybody, and he can hang with anybody. So he's prepared for the fight, and he's looking forward to it.
And Mr. Amosov, one more thing for you. You've got a record that's incomparable right now in Bellator, and it doesn't seem like there's that many more things out there for you other than a world title shot. So would you like Douglas Lima next with a win?
I want, now I think only this fight, and after this fight, I talked to my manager, I talked to organization Bellator. Yes, of course, I want fighting title, but now I think only this fight.
All right, thank you very much. Best of luck Thursday.
Matthew?
Hey, Yaroslav, my question is to you. After seeing Douglas Lima fight, I think it was about last weekend or 2 weekends ago, how do you think you stylistically match up against a guy like him if you were to get a win over Logan Storley?
Douglas Lima бился пару недель назад, ты видел его бой, и как ты думаешь, твой стиль сравнивается с его, ну, если вы друг другом бились?
My style, it's MMA style. I like and wrestling and striking. I think Douglas Lima like only striking, wrestling better, but we know Douglas Lima, if he have fight, he every time ready anything opponent. If he have opponent in wrestling, he training every time wrestling. He good defense, but if I have fight in Douglas Lima, I'm ready.
And my last question is for you, man. What is your biggest attribute as a fighter? Out of all the attributes that you have right now, what is your biggest attribute?
Твое самое хорошее качество как боец из всех твоих качеств, которое самое хорошее.
I don't know. Maybe I like my opponent. I train every time, and me like this. It's my hobby and my work.
All right, we'll go to Giancarlo.
Hi, Yaroslav. Hope you're doing well. It's been a while since we've seen you fight in the Bellator cage. During this pandemic and everything going on, was there maybe a hobby you picked up in the meantime while you were out of action?
Хобби. Ну, во время вот этого, сейчас времени, что была пандемия и корона, ты, может, какое-то новое хобби нашел?
Кроме какого?
Кроме какого у тебя, наверное, есть, не знаю.
Yes, this time I have new hobby. It's moto. Every time I have moto, but now I have moto stunt riding. Me like stunt riding. I like training this style and stunt riding. It's my hobby. I think it's that's it. Yes.
That's good. And final one for me, with the way the welterweight division is stacked up, and even going back to that welterweight Grand Prix, you were one of the final 8 in that tournament. Do you feel like maybe people are overlooking you in this division?
170 килограмм дивизию имеет много хороших бойцов. Ты думаешь, что тебя как бы не смотрят, как бы, ну, через тебя смотрят, как бы не замечают тебя в этой дивизии, или ты думаешь, что замечают?
It doesn't matter for me if this guy think. Если эти бойцы думают, что можно меня не замечать, это ихнее дело. Моя работа драться, и мне будут давать оппонентов, я буду с ними драться. А то, что они думают, это уже думают они.
He said, well, if I'm being overlooked by whoever or my opponents, that's really not my problem. I'm a fighter. My job is to fight. You know, I'm going to get an opponent, and I'm going to fight him, and how they feel is not my concern.
Donna?
Hi, how's it going? When it comes to Logan Storley, he's obviously this decorated wrestler. He's one of the best pure wrestlers maybe in Bellator altogether. Is the plan to counteract that, to stand, to keep your distance and get in, get your shots and get out, or are you happy to test your grappling against him?
Logan Storley один из как бы борцов, которые остались борцами. Ну, вот как наш начал биться, стенки. А Логан Столли очень сильно на свою борьбу полагается во время боя. А твой план бороться с ним и как бы проверить твои качества как боец, или ты будешь больше как бы дистанцию держать и в стойке пытаться иметь бой?
Это все будет видно в бою. Но также я могу сказать, он остался таким борцом. Но я не видел, чтобы его оппоненты были с хорошей борьбой. Если спортсмен больше бьется, то его нужно бороть. И я считаю, что у него в основном были все бойцы, которые ударного стиля, поэтому у него так хорошо получалось их бороть. Но я рассчитываю эту ситуацию поменять.
He said, well, keep one thing in mind, Logan Storley is a great wrestler, but so far he hasn't fought anyone who has any wrestling. Most of his opponents were more of a stand-up guy, so yeah, it's easy to look good. Now he's going to fight somebody that also has wrestling, and I think we're going to change that, dominant wrestling kind of thought that everybody has about him in this fight.
And the last one from me, looking at your last fight, of course, it didn't end, during the round. It ends with the doctor's stoppage. Can you talk me through how you felt that night and how keen you were to get back in the cage and be able to get a full fight in without the doctor coming in and stopping it?
Твой последний бой доктор остановил. Результат может немножко разочаровывать иногда бойцов, потому что они у них считают, что они хотели бы как бы сами закончить бой. Скажи, как ты об этом чувствуешь и насколько ты готов, как говорится, прийти в этот бой уже и решить результат боя сам?
Самое главное, то, что поставленная задача была выполнена, и я победил. И то, что остановил доктор, это же он остановил не просто так, он остановил по той причине, потому что я сделал рассечение. И я не расстроился.
He said, well, the goal of my last fight, just like in any fight, was to win, which I accomplished. And as far as Dr. stoppage and being disappointed, I mean, the doctor didn't stop the fight for no reason. He stopped the fight because of the damage that I did to my opponent. So I'm not disappointed in that at all. I came to do damage, I did, and the fight was over and I won. So that's all that matters.
Let's go to Philippe.
Yaroslav, thank you for the time. We often mention all the wrestling credential of your opponent, but people forget that you're a three-time Sambo world champion. Would you say that Sambo gave you an advantage because you are better in transition at MMA than they are because you've been wrestling and striking for a long time compared to them that just only wrestle for so long?
Mm-hmm. Очень часто журналисты говорят о качестве твоего соперника и его рестлинг, но очень много забывают, что ты трехкратный чемпион мира по комбат самбо, и ты считаешь, что твоя подготовка в самбо тебе больше подготовила к ММА, потому что там ты не только борешься, ты еще и можешь ударные проводить технику, чем Logan Storley, который просто боролся.
Yes, of course, it's better for me because I'm striking and grappling sorry, but I win 4 times in world in combat sambo, and it's wrestling, no problem, striking, no problem. I'm ready, and after combat sambo, a correction in MMA because I fighting no gi, but combat sambo it's MMA, but you fighting gi, and I training a long time.
And just for me to finish, do you plan to stay at American Top Team for the rest of for next year to train also at American Top Team?
Тебе нравится ATT и есть какими планами поменяться?
Oh, now I train American Top Team. I like thank you this gym because I good feeling in American Top Team. American Top Team helped me.
All right, we'll go to Jim Barcelona.
Okay, thank you. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, great. Hey, I'm curious, does this fight mean a little more to the training centers, especially because of the South Florida connection? It's an American Top Team fighter against a Sanford MMA fighter?
Его вопрос.
Это не конкуренты,
Да как вы оба клуба в северной, то есть в Южной Флориде, это, как бы, что-нибудь значит больше, как бы, там, 2 клуба, которые вот очень близко друг от друга, и вот вы двое бьетесь. Чей клуб лучше?
Doesn't matter for me. I don't know what think Logan, but it doesn't matter for me. I have fight, it's work.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Simon.
Hey, Yaroslav, how's it going today? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm good feeling. Thank you.
All right, cool. So I have 2 for you here. How does it feel knowing that you're representing the country of Ukraine on one of the biggest stages in the world?
Как ты себя чувствуешь, что ты представляешь Украину на мировом?
We like it's good. It's I'm happy because all people in Ukraine look for me, and I have fun. Me like this.
And the last one I have for you here: does a win over Storley rank upon your top 5 at all?
Если ты побьешь Столли, эта победа будет в топ-5 твоих побед, топ-5?
I see after fight.
Santiago?
Hi Yaroslav, greetings from Amsterdam. You used to fight at middleweight as well. Is that still on your mind, or is your focus only on welterweight for now?
Now my focus only welterweight.
There is so much talent coming out of Ukraine like yourself, and of course there is Lomachenko and Usyk. Are you proud of what your country is doing right now in the world of combat sports?
Много хороших бойцов из Украины. И как бы гордишься своей страной, что она производит таких хороших бойцов, которые могут биться на мировой.
Yes, of course, we have a big star in sport, and it's very good. Yes.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, time for 2 more. Luis?
Hi. So you are an undefeated fighter who will fight another undefeated fighter. What gives you confidence to keep that loss count to 0 in this fight?
Ты хороший боец, он хороший боец, ты без поражений. Что тебе дает? Почему ты думаешь, что ты без поражения останешься после этого боя?
Because I win, and I think I'm better fighter, and I don't know. I'm better. I won't win, and that's it.
How did you feel the bubble for this fight?
Can you repeat that?
How do you feel the bubble, the bubble for this fight, the bubble for the COVID?
Как ты себя чувствуешь? Ну вот тут ковид, мы же все как бы.
It's good place. I mean, like it's a good fighter office. How people work. Good place. Yes.
All right, our last question will go to Ben Allen.
Hi, Yaroslav. So 24-0, if I'm not mistaken, you currently have the longest undefeated record in the sport, apart from Khabib Nurmagomedov at 29-0, who looks like he's about to retire. What would it mean to you to overtake him and surpass his record?
Ты 24-0 без поражений. В данный момент это самый
рекорд
самый
после Кhabиба.
Ну, Кhabиб сейчас, в принципе, уже. Что для тебя бы значило, если ты бы победил больше, чем он, там 30-0 или 31-0, больше, чем Кhabib, остался без поражений?
Of course, it's good, but now I think this fight, я не люблю загадывать наперед.
He doesn't like to think too far ahead. I mean, it'd be good to get to that level and be undefeated, but for now, it's just one fight.
Okay, so.
All right, thank you very much, Yaroslav. We'll be back shortly with Emmanuel Sanchez.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, we are now being joined by Emmanuel Sanchez. We will get things started with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Hello and good day to you, sir. This is Omaha calling. Last time we spoke, Emmanuel, you said something great that was instantly quotable. You said, one and done at the Mohegan Sun. Are you still feeling that way right now after this long delay?
Absolutely. I stand by my words, and I'm going to stand by my performance. So you're going to tune in on Thursday night on CBS, and you're going to see Daniel Weichel will be done in one inside the Mohegan Sun.
We heard from Daniel earlier on the call, and he said that he felt he had evolved, you had evolved, but he had evolved more as a fighter. What would you say to that?
I disagree. I still see going back to the selection show prior, and I'm glad that he won, and that's who I wanted. When I saw him fight Saul Rogers, in his mind, he might believe that he evolved, which is a good thing. And I'm sure throughout this whole months and downtime of everything that's been going on in the world, he's been focused and ready and determined and everything. But I still saw the same Daniel that I remember from 2016. And I saw that in his second title fight as well, too, with Patricio. So I knew I was ready for either one of those guys back at that moment as well, too, and would have wanted either one of them. And now, I chose, and I'm on the toughest side of the bracket here. I'm on the same side of the bracket as two guys who have a win over me. So I picked the toughest fight, and I'm looking to write the best story.
All right, one more thing for me, Emmanuel, and I'll let you go. With this performance, you're looking to go 5 rounds, possibly if it goes the distance because it's the featherweight tournament. Have you been able to train for 5 rounds with the pandemic and everything that's been going on?
Absolutely, and I'm ready to the death, but I'm ready. We won't need them, so I know that, and the judges won't be needed. But everyone knows that I'm a cardio freak. I was born for this. I was made for this, and I can go to the death and till I got no more lungs. So, but I'm ready, and I'm hungry, and determined, and focused. So it's time.
All right, sir. Good luck on Thursday. Looking forward to the fight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll go to Matthew Putterman.
Hey, what's up, Emmanuel? How you doing today?
What's up, Matthew Putterman? How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. Hey, I just want to ask you, you're one of the few combat sport athletes that isn't afraid to show their faith that they have in God. I see a lot on your Instagram as well, too. You're posting a lot. What has God done for you in your life, and why would you like to portray yourself with that, too?
Wouldn't say necessarily that it's just portraying myself as that. It's all who I am and all who I choose to be. It's all because the glory to God that I'm here for this moment and this time, and I'm just very fortunate and very blessed. And I'll be honest, I don't deserve it, but I'm grateful for everything that God has done for me and put me in this position on this platform to write my story for His glory and be able to share that with the world as well too. So I know how much I've been blessed with this, and I'm in the position to help bless others as well too. And I have that through martial arts, and for that I'm very grateful.
Definitely. My last question is for you. What have these months that you've had off, what have you evolved the most in your game? Like, is there any aspect you've evolved the most, or is all around?
My spirit and my psyche. More than anything, I know obviously growing up as a man and mature, coming into really what I thought back then was the best me, but now in my prime, and now just having turned 30 years old, now I know I'm at that full capacity, close to the full capacity at least, of hitting that peak of being able to use my mind as well as my body. And obviously I've needed the losses, I've needed the injuries, I've needed the wins and bad weight cuts and all those types of experiences to put me into this position to go out and shine my brightest.
Dan Yanofsky.
Hey, Emmanuel, how are you doing today?
Great, my friend. How are you?
Not bad. I noticed that both of you haven't really fought in more than a year, and especially with this pandemic going on. Do you think that the time off, especially now that you're giving to work on yourself, do you think it benefits you in any way just because of how you've been training?
Yeah, absolutely. Throughout this whole time, it was rough. It was rough, but I never lost hope. So I never lost hope. Very grateful for the opportunity to be able to make this happen. Of course, a lot of people wish they could be there in attendance and see it. I wish that as well too. But more than anything, I'm just grateful that we're back and able to make this happen for not obviously not just myself, but all the other fighters as well too, knowing that they want to go out and shine and be able to provide for themselves, because that's what we're able to do this for too. So I, throughout this whole quarantine and downtime, lockdown, everything, was able to grow in my game, in my mind, in my spirit, and I'm ready to go out and show that on Thursday.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hey, Emmanuel, how's it going?
Great, my friend. How are you?
Not too bad. Now, this fight was going to happen. It was the very first thing to be cancelled during this pandemic. The weigh-ins were done. You were there. It was on. It was off. There was going to be fans. There was going to be no fans. You have had, and because of the way this tournament works, you have had your sights on Daniel Weichel for, like the last guy said, you've been out over a year. You've had your sights set on Daniel Weichel almost the entire time. How do you feel towards this man now?
The same. Like I said, I just stayed hopeful and was praying for him, for myself, for everyone else, and for the opportunity to be able to do this. This was such a crazy thing that happened in the world, and very unfortunate and confusing. And during these unprecedented times, we didn't know what to expect of what was going to happen or what could happen. But I just stayed positive, and I'm a strong man of God, so I just stayed praying for everyone in the moment. And I'm glad that we're finally here and we're able to make it happen. Throughout that whole time, I just knew, okay, with even a year-long layoff, we got to go through hell to get to heaven, right? So I mean, the more we gotta wait, that in suffering builds character, and with patience goes perseverance. And now it's just makes that moment much sweeter when I get the victory and I feel this. So
perhaps the answer is obvious, I don't know, but I'll ask it anyway. What's the difference between 2016 when you guys were last in the cage together and now?
I have to say all the training that went into that, my nutrition, so not even just of how I make the weight and weight cutting, and my nutrition, that was a big thing. A lot of other people ask me too, what's so different about my game, and that's my significant other, Stacy Blythe, and through our Parallel Greatness company that we have built up, being able to help my other teammates as well too, make championship weight no problem, and be able to perform at our best. So for me, it was not, I would say, lack of skill, more so being able to put that into my game was like a supplement to my game to help enhance and fuel my body to perform at its best potential. And I believe I've showed that a lot in my most recent fights. And the growth and experiences, and I'm thankful for the victories, but also even in the losses as well too. That's what's helped me grow as a fighter and as a man. So I've used that going into my training and each and every single one of those fights as well too. And now I'm excited to go out there and show that again on Thursday night.
All right, we'll take one from Rick.
Hola, señor Sanchez. ¿Cómo está?
Todo bien, hermano. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien. ¿Está bien hablarte dos preguntas en español?
Sí, dame, está bien. Échala.
Una pregunta. Allá en México la gente está llamando a ti la campeona de la gente. Están mirando a ti. Tú eres la final, los cuatro peleadores. ¿Qué es esto ahorita en tu mente? Tú eres están llamando a ti la campeona de la gente.
Pues el campeón de la gente es algo que me da mucha alegría y motivación, porque quiero inspirar y ayudar a mi gente y otros peleadores también que están en México, porque he quedado en contacto con muchos de Querétaro, de Guadalajara, de Durango, de Ciudad de México, y me han dicho que pues es difícil en estos tiempos, ¿verdad? Y pues estoy orando para ellos también. Y yo sé que ellos van a llegar a ese nivel también con pues del Ultimate Fighter o en Bellator o otras ligas bien grandes, y pues que ellos pueden conseguir esos sueños también y llegar donde yo estoy. Y pues sí, quiero ser el campeón de la gente y el próximo campeón mexicano del Bellator.
esa es la última pregunta. Ahorita están haciendo ¿qué vas a hacer if tú ganaste esta pelea? ¿Qué vas a hacer con los $1 millón?
Pues ayudar a mi gente, a toda la gente mexicana y otra pues gente sobre el mundo, porque yo lo veo como una bendición de Dios y como Él me ha bendecido pues, bastante y yo siento que yo no lo merezco, entonces quiero ayudar a toda la gente también en las artes marciales, en mi fe, en las escuelas y en todo eso. Entonces yo me voy a quedar humilde y pues es algo que es bien grande y pues sí, es mucha motivación, pero obvio, ayudarme a mi familia, pero también a mi gente.
Do you mind answering that in English as well?
So I was asked that what would I do with $1 million, and of course everyone asked me to go all out, but God has blessed me with this moment and this opportunity to be on this platform, and I feel so undeserving of it, but knowing that I've been able to receive all this, then it is better to give than to receive. So I know I would be able to go and help people in mixed martial arts, people who, in children's hospitals, people who are losing their faith, people who are dealing with ailments. So that's what I plan to do with this, obviously the grand prize money of the $1 million, and obviously do great things for my family and other people who have helped me as well too, and be an intelligent businessman.
Great. Simon?
Hey, Emmanuel, I have this one for you here. You're fighting with your opponent again, but you gotta talk to me. What does the word "the Matador" mean to you? Like, why would you pick that nickname?
So I got that nickname from my coach, Duke Rufus. That flies back all the way to 2014 before I made my Bellator debut. And I was starting on the rise with him, fighting locally in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And I didn't have a nickname then. I just was sticking to my strong name of Emmanuel Sanchez. And it came from the earliest boxers in my day that he really wanted me to emulate and fight like Jorge Linares, Oscar De La Hoya, Canelo Alvarez. And now you see that in Ryan Garcia and some of the slickest, smoothest boxers, and likewise in Muay Thai as well too. And as they say, the bull is stronger, but the matador is smarter. So even the greatest, Muhammad Ali, went out and said that. And I believe that I live up to that moniker. So obviously, through the country of Spain, and it's the bullfighter. But in Mexico, there I'd see like they have it something different. It'd be the killer. But for me, it's someone who goes out there, and I know someone's going to go out there and try to take my head off and want to kill me. But float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, and the hands can't hit what the eyes can't see. So I'm going to be like a ghost in there and don't get hit. You can't touch this. You know what I'm saying? Like Rick James. But I know I want to fight like one of the toughest, come forward, grittiest fighters, but be also one of the slickest fighters in this era and in this time.
All right. Well, that's all I have for you today. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Thank you, Bill.
We'll move on to Jay Anderson.
Hey, thanks very much. And Emmanuel, just a quick one. You mentioned being on the toughest side of the bracket, and it's hard to argue with the champ being there. And of course, you do have history with him. Are you kind of pulling for him to defend the title Thursday so you can avenge that loss? And how do you see that fight going?
You already know that's the story I'm trying to write. So you taking the words and thoughts right out of my head and my mouth. But yeah, when you do look at the bracket and how all the brackets set up, going back to that selection show, I chose the toughest side of the bracket. And I didn't anticipate the champion being on the same side as me, but I picked the toughest fight, a guy who already has a win over me, and Daniel Weichel. And with the champion being on my side as well too, there's two guys who have a win over me. So absolutely, I'm pulling for the champion, and I would want him to win because I want that victory back as well too. Looking back on all this, obviously it wasn't meant for me to beat Daniel Weichel in Kansas back in 2016. It wasn't meant for me to defeat Patricio Pitbull in Israel in 2018. But now here we are, and there's a lot more on the line too with the stakes and the platform that we're on. So this is something that I'm really looking to write, a great legendary story, and the man who went and avenged his losses and went out to win this Featherweight Grand Prix.
All right, best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take one or two more here. Santiago.
Hi, Emmanuel. Greetings from Amsterdam. Is Doug Rufus going to be in your, is Doug Rufus going to be in your corner for this fight?
Absolutely. I got my coach with me all week from right here. He's a very busy man. We got another teammate next week that unfortunately he's not being able to go for the next week's Bellator card, but he'll be in my teammate Paul Felder's card this weekend as well too, right after mine. So we're just taking care of business left and right. We had all that downtime with having lockdown and everything that was going on in the world, but now with all these fights picking back up, he's staying a very busy, hungry man, and that's our leader leading from the front. So he's dedicated, committed, focused and hungry to win. So he instills that in us too, and we're just gonna go out there and grind together, we shine together.
You beat Tywin Claxton in a very convincing way by triangle choke. That was your second triangle choke in Bellator. Do you feel comfortable on your back?
Oh, absolutely. Triangles everywhere. So I'm all about the pizzas. So that's how I live that life. I can put people to sleep on the ground or on my feet, and that's my moniker from right there. Whether it's with my hands on my legs, whether it's with striking or submissions, either way. I look to finish the fight everywhere. I'm a finisher, and that's something that I really aspire and instill in myself to go out there and go do. And I just believe in my mindset and believe in my greatness, and I know what I'm capable of. And I'm happy that I'm able to showcase all those skills now. And I think being able to fight off your back is something that a lot of MMA fighters throughout the whole world, not just in my division or whatever said organization, but a lot of people and fighters, male or female, need to have in their game, because you can always obviously win from your back too, not just with submissions, but also Nico Price, great guy as well too. You can finish a lot of people from the bottom as well too. Doing damage from the bottom makes you a much more dangerous fighter. So I know I believe in keeping myself humble, that I'm a complete fighter and I can fight everywhere, and I'm just as dangerous as I am on bottom as I am on top.
All right, thank you very much, Emmanuel. Appreciate your time. We'll be joined shortly by Logan Storley.
Right.
All right, we're now being joined by Logan Storley. If you have any questions for Logan, go ahead and use the raise hand feature. We will get started here with Donna Corby.
How's it going, Logan?
Hey, what's going on?
Oh, not too much. This guy is so scary. I didn't even want to ask many questions in the press conference earlier. What possessed you to take this matchup? I mean, how do you feel about your opponent, Yaroslav Amosov?
No, I mean, he's tough. I know he's tough. He's an undefeated fighter, which so am I. But, it was a good opportunity, and I see a lot of areas that, that I can win in. And so to be the best, you got to fight the best, and he's one of the top guys right now.
You've been in there with, like Ian Pascu and, another guy who's a huge deal at the moment, Joaquin Buckley. But in terms of the levels of your opponent, this guy is the toughest test you've faced in your MMA career, correct?
Yeah.
And last one from me, how does that fight work out? I mean, are you going to be shooting in, looking to get into the ground, looking to nullify him, or are you happy to stand and bang with this guy?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's going to be a lot of transitions going from wrestling to striking, and who can win those situations, and who can, when you do land the takedown, can you keep them there for a while, beat them up, get them tired, and that's what's really going to determine the outcome of this fight.
Thank you, buddy.
We'll go to Steve.
Logan, thank you for the time. We heard something telling from Yaroslav earlier when he said that the reason you've looked dominant against your competition is that you hadn't faced a wrestler at your level. And he says that because of that, the outcome will be different this time. What are your thoughts?
I've wrestled at the highest level for a long time. And I trained with Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns, Mike Chandler, Robbie Lawler, some of the best guys, obviously the top 2 guys at 170. So I know what it takes to go in there and compete. Have the guys that I fought, EJ Brooks was a Division I wrestler. Pascu had good wrestling and did well against Ed with defending some things and getting some takedowns of his own. But I know Amosov has good wrestling. I know that. I've watched his fights. But it's going to be able to who can keep that up for 15 minutes. And so, I know I competed in probably over 400 wrestling matches. I've been wrestling since I was 5 years old. So I know how to go out there. I know how to compete against the best guys in the world.
All right. And I put it to Amosov earlier that with 2 undefeated fighters going in and no definitely 100% established next person to face Douglas Lima, this could be a number 1 contenders fight. Do you see it that way yourself?
Yeah, I do. I think whoever comes out of there with a good performance and a W, definitely put yourself up there for a title shot.
All right, Logan, best of luck Thursday. Thank you.
Thanks.
Go to Matthew.
Hey, Logan, how you doing today?
Hey.
Hey, my question is to you. Do you think there's more pressure on you in this fight? Of course, you both are undefeated. Or do you think there's more pressure on Yaroslav? Of course, the gentleman I was just talking with was saying this is technically a number 1 contender fight. Do you think there's more pressure on you or Yaroslav here?
I think I really don't know. For me, it's just another fight where you want to go in there and you want to come out with the W. So I don't really think about his situation. I focus on me. And so for me, there's a lot at stake for both of us. But for me, it's business as usual. Go in there and try to dominate this guy for 15 minutes and get a W and see where we're sitting afterwards.
Yeah, even with a win over Yaroslav, of course, you'd be 12-0. Do you want to get a few more fights in before you would even fight for the title, or are you ready to go for the title already?
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm excited, and I know that with like I said, a great win on Thursday, that puts you right up there, and that puts you right in the discussion for a title shot. So for me, it's just like I said, I've been competing for a long time, so I know what it takes to compete at a high level. And so, I only have 11 fights, but, you can't wait around forever and just saying the next fight. So at a certain point, you just have to get in there and fight the best guys in the world.
That's all I got for you, brother. Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Simon.
Hey, Logan, how are you today, my friends?
Hey.
So I have this question here for you. Some will say that you have to lose to actually learn. However, you've been undefeated throughout your 11-fight professional career. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you actually have to lose to learn?
I don't think so. Obviously, Khabib didn't lose, and look where he's at. So no, I think you learn every fight, whether you win or lose. You learn from situations that didn't go your way, even though the outcome went your way. But, you also, every single training session, there's something that, I'll find out, that, that didn't work. And, so, like I said, I train with some of the best guys in the world, and I'm learning on a daily basis. So, no, I don't think you have to lose to learn. But you definitely don't want to either.
Cool. That's all I got for you. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
All right, and our last question we'll take 2 more. We'll have Rick Sanchez.
Hey, Logan, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
My question is, depending what happens on Thursday night's fight, if there's any opponent you want next, whatever goes on Thursday night?
For me, a lot of people have been talking, number 1 contender spot. And so for me, I guess you go in there and you dominate Amosov, I would like to fight for the title. And so, But I got to take care of Thursday first before I start looking ahead and what's next. This fight hasn't even happened yet. So, it's kind of the same answer I always give is I have to take care of what's in front of me. And right now that's an undefeated fighter, in Amosov. And so if I take care of him, then we go to the drawing board and talk to the guys and see what we're thinking.
All right, thank you.
All right, and our last question will come from Santiago.
Hi Logan, greetings from Amsterdam. Could you keep training at Sanford MMA with Henry Hoof during the pandemic?
We had to take a little break for a while, which everybody had to. But then the state of Florida obviously had less restrictions than other places, so we were able to get back training, and we did a lot of things on our own and home workouts and things like that. We had to do for the first few weeks, but it was good. I got to kind of take a little break and focus on some things that I didn't always get to when we're always going from fight to fight or back to training camp. So, I just did whatever I could and tried to learn during it.
And the last thing for me, the current champion in your weight class moved up in weight and challenged Gegard Mousasi for the middleweight title. What did you make of Lima's performance in that fight?
Mousasi was big, and he did a good job controlling the distance. Lima's leg kicks, obviously, they took a toll on him. You could tell, and, he said it in the interview. Mousasi won those wrestling positions, and he was big. I could tell his weight kind of took it out of Lima in a few situations where maybe Lima would have been able to get out if it was at 170 or 180, 175, but at 185, Mousasi just was a little bigger guy and did a better job controlling distance and winning those wrestling positions.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you very much, Logan. Appreciate your time. We'll be joined shortly here by Pedro Carvalho.
Cool. All done.
All right. We are now being joined by Pedro Carvalho. We will get started here with Steven Morocco. Your line is live.
Hey, Pedro. I was just reading a story about you and the sort of journey of your career. How often do you think about that textile factory that you used to work in when you're training for a big fight like this?
Sorry, can you repeat?
How often do you think about that textile factory you used to work at when you're training for big fights?
Sorry, can you just put the volume a little bit up? Sorry, man. Sorry, can you repeat now?
Sure. How often do you think about that textile factory you used to work at when you're training for big fights like this?
I'm not getting that.
The textile factory
The
that
textile.
you used to work at?
Sorry, textile?
The factory that you used to work at before you moved to Ireland.
There's a previous job.
Sorry. So you're talking about the job that I had before I moved to Ireland, right?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my man. Yeah, like it was pretty tough. I remember when we made the decision, me and my girlfriend moving to Ireland. So we decided, but I needed to get a job to join some money so we could establish ourselves. So I decided to get a full-time job, and that was the job that I got it. And I'll tell you what, like it was tough. I remember the first few days that I had. I was coming back home and I would cry like a baby, saying that I won't go back. And my mom helped me a lot. I remember she told me like, hey, Pedro, listen, this is temporary. You are giving one step back to give 4 steps forward. So just focus on your goals and think that this is only temporary. You're not doing this for good. And those words helped me a lot because that was the words that I grabbed every single day that I was going to that job, to deal with that acids of the tissues, the heat, the smoke of the machines, everything, was just like in pure winter when outside was like -1, inside of the factory was like 40 degrees. So imagine in the summer in Portugal, outside heat sometimes 40 degrees. Inside the factory sometimes will be like 60, 70, 80, It was tough, but, that made me become mentally a stronger person because they just made me drive more, to try like, hey, I'm doing this, I'm going to make it happen. And I'll tell you what, on the last day of that job, I was the happiest man in the world.
At what point did you become a full-time fighter in Ireland? When did you quit the job and say, I'm a full-time fighter, I'm quitting this hospital job?
I became a full-time fighter 2 weeks before the Daniel Crawford fight, so my first Bellator fight. So I quit. And I remember I went to the gym and the guys asked me, what are you doing here? You're supposed to work. I was like, I quit. And he asked me, why did you quit? And I said, well, I quit because I don't want this idea in the back of my head, like, hey, Pedro, if you lose, you still have your job to pay your bills. And I didn't want that. I didn't want none of that kind of negative ideas on my head going to that fight because that was at the time the fight of my life, the opportunity of my life, especially because it was one fight deal. So I needed to get that win. I remember going to 1 week before going to London that I was living with one friend of mine and I had to ask him, to borrow some money because my bank account was at 0. And I still remember my words. I was like, hey, Luis, listen, can you borrow me some money? And I'll go out there, I'm going to beat this guy and I'll give you the money back. And that was exactly what I made happen. I beat one of the best prospects in Europe. I got myself a contract and I became a full-time fighter.
And do you, what's the split between you living in Dublin and where you're from in Portugal?
I just try to work. I live, train in Ireland, and every time I have an opportunity, especially because I have this freedom because I decide when I train, when I not train, so I can decide whenever I want to go to Portugal, and happily I have that freedom. And every time I can, I go pretty often to Portugal to see my family, to see my friends, to be on my country, and as long I'm free mentally to go to Portugal because I established these obligations with myself, and I don't break them. And as long as I'm not breaking them, every time I can, I go to Portugal.
And last question for me: how did your gym, how did Straight Blast change when Conor left? And do you think it might change now that he is coming back?
He never really left. He kept training every day, so we never felt any difference because he never really left.
Okay, so there's no sort of like he's still around, like he's still like a presence at the gym, and he's somebody that you work with.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, is that how much of an impact has that had on your journey as a mixed martial artist?
Impact or what impact?
An impact on your journey as a mixed martial artist, on your development as a fighter. Does it have an impact or no?
But did he have what had an impact? Sorry.
Conor McGregor's presence.
Yeah, of course he has an impact, especially when he was training for the Cerrone fight. I could have a closer look, so I could learn some things just by looking at it, by the approach to some aspects. So you can learn from everything, from absolutely everything. You just have to have laser eyes, and if you want to learn with everything. And when I'm talking about a guy that made so much on this sport and achieved so much, that's a lot of things you can learn from him, and I learned a lot of stuff from him.
Steve?
All right, Pedro, thank you for the time today. You were scheduled to have this fight back in March before the pandemic changed everything, but it's been even longer than that since your last fight with Sam Sicilia. How has being laid off from fighting this long affected you mentally?
I'm going to tell you why. It affected me a lot mentally, but positive-wise, all this time, all these adversities, adversities for me, I always become them positives for me. Every time I have an adversity in my life, no matter how big it is, I make sure that I make it a positive in my life, in my career. And all these setbacks, all these postponed things, COVID, etc., I become a huge positive. And right now, because of all this, right now I'm 30,000 times a better fighter, a stronger fighter mentally, and a wise fighter, in terms of fight IQ. And I can tell you that that all is because of these adversities, that just made me keep training, keep work, keep focus, when we didn't have any sort of idea when we will be back and all that. So it had an effect, really, really positive, I'll tell you that.
When the selection show took place, I remember Pitbull made a very interesting comment. He said, Pedro has a big mouth and I want to shut him up. And yet we've seen nothing but respectful words from you. It doesn't seem like you have a big mouth. What did he mean by that?
I'll tell you what they mean by that. Patricio Pitbull likes to victimize himself. That's what he likes to do. Every time he has an opponent, or at least with my experience, is like he always say these things that I speak a lot, that I this and that. So I look the bad guy, and he's like the kind of the hero that comes, the humble hero that comes and puts the villain away. That's it. That's simply it. He's just a big baby that tried to victimize himself, so he gets the credits of I don't know what, but I don't care. What matters for me is this time we get done, and this time we get locked there. And after we get locked, there's no villains, no heroes, no nothing. There's only me in front of him.
All right. Have a great performance Thursday. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you very much.
Hey, Pedro, how's it going?
How's it going?
Not too bad. I wanted to ask about these level 5 restrictions we've been in for the last few weeks. here in Dublin, have they affected your training at all? I spoke to Brad Katona about this. It seems like there are ways you get around it, obviously, with the elite athlete program the Irish government allow. How did level 5 affect you?
I'll tell you this. I was extremely lucky. I was like extremely lucky because when the Irish government announced officially on the day that they will go to level 5, that was the exactly same day that my camp got over. So I was extremely lucky on that part, because when we got shut down, I was getting ready and packed to come to US. So yeah, like thank God, thank everything that I was extremely lucky on that part.
One of the great sporting cliches in everything, in soccer, in rugby, in fighting, is this guy is so hungry. This guy wants it more than the other guy. However, it has become part of your style of fighting. When you look at the Daniel Crawford fight, that was absolutely probably the reason why you ended up getting that win in that particular fight. How much has this last few months just focusing on Patricio Pitbull, the pain of losing out on the fight in March, how much has that fed that desire within you?
Oh, big time. You know, like I consider myself a self-motivated guy because I have these goals on my head. I want to prove to the world that I'm the best in the world, and that's all I need. That's all I need to get up every single day to go to work and give my absolutely best in every single session. And day after day, I'm more hungry and hungry. And absolutely, after I saw my first world belt opportunity gone away because of, you know, this COVID thing, it was frustrating. It just gave me this fire focus. Like it's like every time someone said that I won't make it, every time someone said that I won't be able, that I'm not good enough, and their words just give me an extra fire to prove them wrong. So this was like kind of the contradict like energy, like because I saw my opportunity going away from nowhere, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna make this a better thing than I will be fighting. If I will be fighting today, you know, this guy that's going to fight today is nothing comparing from the guy that's going to fight whenever I'll fight. So that was my focus, and that will give me fire. And I remember on the same day that fight got canceled, I was in the gym or on the hotel gym training like a madman, and that was my daily process, my daily basis. I kept my weight from then to now. I kept my diet. I kept training every single day, no matter the adversity, no matter how locked we were. I kept training every day, and I'll tell you what, like right now I'm 30, 40, 50,000 times a better fighter than I was in March.
Can I sneak one in just before we go about Peter Queally and Patricio Pitbull? Has Patricio missed his chance now? Are you going to make sure that Patricio goes up and defends that title against Peter when the crowds are allowed back in Dublin?
Hey, Patricio will go back to lightweight for sure. What Bellator is going to make after, I don't know. I don't know if Patricio will be good enough to give his brother a chance of fighting for a bacon belt, but just imagine 3 arena, main event, me defending my belt for the semifinals of World Grand Prix, a co-main event, Peter Queally against wherever Pitbull is for the lightweight belt, and who knows, Sinead Kavanagh for the featherweight belt against Chris Cyborg. That will be the card of the year, I think. Just saying.
That's beautiful.
All right, we'll go to Jay.
Hey, Pedro, welcome back. We talked a little today about, your early career, getting your starts. And, earlier in your career, did you ever dream of getting a title shot in a major promotion by the time you were 25?
Not only I dreamed, I saw it. Not exactly at 25. But yeah, at a young age, I saw like I everything that I do, I make sure that I do it right, and I make sure that I'm improving, and make sure that I'm the best version week after week, month after month. of myself, and I knew that if I keep just working hard and believe in myself, I just need one chance, and after one chance, things will go naturally. And the chance that I only needed was that one fight contract against Daniel Crawford, and I knew after that will be a matter of time, And as soon as I got scheduled to fight on the World Grand Prix, I knew it will be only a matter of time. So yeah, I never thought about fighting exactly at 25, but I knew somewhere 24, 25, 26, I'll be world champion. And but listen, this is only my first step. This is only the beginning of greatness.
And with all the time off during the pandemic, I mean, that's a lot of time to be sitting thinking about one opponent, the $1 million on the line, the title. Did that almost become overwhelming at all? Did you have to do something to kind of take your mind off of it a little when you were restricted from training as much?
No, because I'm obsessed. I'm truly obsessed, and I never stopped training. I never was on lockdown times. I never was sitting around on my couch just getting fat like some guys that I know. I was training every single day. I was controlling my weight. I was on diet. I was like a professional, like I was in camp. I treated myself and my mind like I was in camp. And that was a difference maker why I say with the whole words in my mouth that I'm in the best shape of my life by thousands of years of distance. I'm absolutely in the best shape of my life. And that's because I treated myself on lockdown times like I was in camp. And that was the major difference.
All right. Well, thanks very much. Looking forward to Thursday.
Thank you. Me too.
Santiago?
Hi, Pedro. Boa tarde and greetings from Amsterdam. I was sitting cage side when you fought Derek Campos in Birmingham last year and you just ran through him. That fight was at lightweight. Now you are competing at featherweight. Which weight suits you best, and which one are we going to see you the most in the future?
Any weight, I'm the best in the world, period. I can fight, I'll prove, or I already proved that I can fight anywhere. But yeah, right now we are on the Featherweight Grand Prix, so my obligation are at featherweight. I will become world champion at featherweight. I will finish this tournament as featherweight champion. And then we'll see, I love to fight at lightweight. I feel great at lightweight. I can eat more. But yeah, we'll see, But featherweight or lightweight, both suit me well. Of course, in both of them, I gain some and I lose some on both weights, but I perform the way that I want on both divisions.
Pedro, the Portuguese national football team is so stacked right now. Of course, there's the big boss, Cristiano Ronaldo, but now you also have Bruno Fernandes, João Felix, Diego Jota, Bernardo Silva, and the list goes on. Are you proud to see a team with so many quality players in Portugal right now?
Yeah, I think, and if you have a closer look, you see that all across the sports. You see in every single sport, you see a world champion in Portugal. I'll be honest with you. I'm not kidding. I lost accounts of the amount of European and world champions across all the sports there we have. I think we, for a small country, I think we just have warriors' heart. And that plays out in the sport. I think that's why we have so many world bests at a lot of things. For me, the best player in the world on football is Cristiano. The best beach football player is Major, Portuguese. Futsal is Ricardinho, and then the list goes on. But I'm incredibly proud. Anything that I see a Portuguese man get success, I'm extremely proud, and it warms my heart.
Obrigado, Pedro, and good luck on fight night.
Thank you.
All right, time for one or two more. We'll go to Simon.
Hey, Pedro, Simon Romero from MMA Island here. I just want to know, what has the training been like down at SBG Island?
With all the COVID things, it went way better than I was expect. I got everyone that I need was there for me, and everything that I need was there. And of course we have to go around a lot of stuffs, but everything got done. Everything got done as we wanted, and the results were way better than we expected, to be honest. So yeah, we call good away.
And now that you're down in Ireland, don't you miss the Portuguese food at all, just a little bit?
No, it's not just a little bit, it's massively. That's the main thing that I miss about my country, is my food, Portuguese food. I'll tell this to all my Italian friends, French and everything. Like, everyone speaks about the Italian food, the French food, and it's good, but compared to Portuguese, not that close, and people that have been there, they agree with me. And yeah, absolutely. The thing that I miss the most when I'm away is my country food, and that's why I always gain a few pounds when I go over there.
All right, Pedro, I appreciate the time, and best of luck on Thursday, my friends.
Thank you.
All right, Matthew, last question.
Hey, Pedro, how you doing today, brother?
Fine.
Hey, my question is to you. There's a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows in this game of mixed martial arts. What motivates you more, coming off of a loss or coming off of a win?
Absolutely coming off of a loss. The 11 wins that I have, soon to be 12, never had an impact so much in my improvements as my 3 losses. With no doubt, I am the fighter that I am today, and I am on the place that I am today because of my losses. My losses gave me what I needed, and only because I had their losses, I was able to see what was missing on me. So with 100%, I can say that I will come back stronger from a loss than from a victory. Of course, I try to make each my victory kind of I always see my victories kind of on the loss way, because I never kind of enjoy my wins, because I'm so focused on see my mistakes that I never really enjoy my victories. So I always look at my victories with kind of a losing eyes in this perspective. And so I can, be always fight after fight, different and way better fighter.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pedro. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
We will be joined here momentarily by Lucas Brennan. Okay, we're now being joined by Lucas Brennan. If you have a question for Lucas, go ahead and press the raise hand button. Let's start with Steve. Your line is live.
Thank you. And Lucas, thank you for the time today. You're very young in your career. You're 3-0, and you're facing a guy in Andrew Salas who is 6-4. Did you want a more experienced opponent for this fight, or did you want someone with a similar record to yours?
I didn't specifically ask for anyone with more experience, but I'm not unhappy with it. I like the step up in experience and the difference in styles. He has a very different style from the last couple guys I fought.
And speaking of those styles, how do you see yourself competing with him? How do you think the fight plays out?
I still plan on fighting myself, fighting my fight. I'm not going to be changing the way I like to go about things and the way I like to go about getting the fight done because of him. Things will be adjusted just to adapt to what he'll give me, but I plan on fighting my fight.
And one last thing from me, being a featherweight yourself, what does it mean to you to be on a card with 2 featured bouts in the Featherweight Grand Prix?
It's pretty cool. I like seeing, the new age and the guys that I've been watching since I was, too young to be training. Because I get to warm up a little bit in my little tent next to Pico, who I've been watching wrestle since I was young, and then Pitbull down the way, who I've been watching fight since I was like a kid. And so, it's interesting. I enjoy it a lot.
All right. Best of luck Thursday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Steve. We'll go to Donna. Donna, your line is live.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Going good, man.
Not too. I wanted to ask to follow up on the last question that was just asked. What's your prediction for this main event, the legendary Patricio Pitbull against the wily challenger Pedro Carvalho?
Man, if I'm going to be totally honest, I don't know as much about Carvalho as I do Pitbull. I lean towards Pitbull. I like him. I like how he fights. And I think Pitbull wins, but I don't have anything set in stone win or lose wise by those guys.
For lads our age, this pandemic has been really difficult. I'm 22, you're 20. How have you found this new lockdown life and not being able to go out and socialize and kind of live this period for you?
Our gym hasn't been closed in a long time. It closed for, I think, like March, April, May, like some of that time zone. And I was still able to train the whole time. I was able to get in there a little bit, train with my brother, train with some guys. And I've been able to have all my same training partners. And I've been able to have full camps. It hasn't affected me too much. And really my social life is interacting with guys at the gym. So I've been able to run everything I've liked to run.
Lastly, you've been in the bubble already. What is the experience like for you? Obviously, this is your second time around, like I said, coming into what is a very different atmosphere to how you ever would have prepared for a fight before.
I understand they have to do a quarantine. I'm not a big fan of it. It's not great for training, but it is what it is, and I understand why they have to do it. And it's a odd situation to be in. I don't mind not having crowds. I actually like that a lot. Some guys don't like it. Some guys think it's like eerie and weird. I really like it. But it's a weird situation to be in. I manage it, I think, very well. I don't mind too much.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take one or two more here from Simon.
Hey, Lucas, how's it going today, my friends?
Going good, man.
So your nickname is Skywalker, but you gotta tell me, who is the best character in Star Wars?
I mean, maybe I'm biased, but I like Luke Skywalker, man. That's me.
All right, cool. You kept the answer short and sweet, but that's all I have for you today. Best of luck on Thursday.
Thank you, man. Have a good day.
All right. Thank you very much, Lucas. Appreciate your time. And we will be joined here shortly by Patricio Pitbull.
Thank you.
Time. And I'm running early on my time.
All right.
All right, Pitbull will be joining us here in just a minute. All right. Now being joined by Patricio Pitbull. Take a couple questions, starting with Jay. Your line is live.
Hey, Pitbull, welcome back. There's been such a long wait for this fight, obviously. So I'm just wondering if you can put into words how frustrating that can be.
Houve muito tempo dentro de lutas e fala sobre essa frustração.
De quê?
Demorando para luta, entre as lutas.
Merdas acontecem, né? Aconteceu tanto para mim como para os outros lutadores. Então estamos em situações iguais e não estou preocupado com isso. Aproveitei o momento com minha família, treinei bastante, consegui adquirir técnicas novas, estou mais habilidoso e vamos dar o próximo passo. Acontece.
Yeah, that happens. We're professional fighters, and that happens in the fight game. We're actually both in the same situation. I got to spend some time with my family. I trained very hard. I improved on some skills. I added some new skills, and we're ready to fight.
And were you surprised the Grand Prix didn't return sooner in July or August when Bellator first came back from the pandemic?
Você estava de surpresa que o torneio do Grand Prix não voltou, tipo, primeiro mês em julho, quando o Bellator voltou?
Eu esperava que voltasse antes e eu até estava pronto para entrar na reta final do camp, né? Então eu sempre tive um camp ali controlado, esperando aquelas últimas 4 semanas, que é as semanas mais duras para fazer o treinamento realmente pré-competição, e não veio julho, não veio agosto, não veio setembro, e depois a gente recebeu a notícia que seria em novembro, mas deu tudo certo. Eu consegui controlar as lesões, o pico de treino não subiu muito, então me mantive saudável ali, né? Então deu tudo certo. Acontece, eu estou aqui para trabalhar, não tenho nada para reclamar.
Yeah, I was ready for July. I was ready for August. I was even at the end of my camp. I have a very controlled camp, and we make sure the last 4 weeks we do it correctly so we could peak at the right moment. So fortunately, we're still in peak form. I've been waiting for this fight. I'm well prepared. I've added skills and let's fight.
Good to hear. Last one for me. Just give us your thoughts on the matchup. You've had a lot of time to study Pedro now. What are your thoughts on him and the dangers that he poses?
O que você pensa sobre o jogo de Pedro?
Pedro é um lutador muito novo, que gosta de colocar muita pressão, ele usa toda a sua juventude, né? Ali na luta, com muita vontade, vai muito para cima, coloca muita pressão. É um kickboxer muito bom, luta de destro, de canhoto, chuta muito forte na linha de cintura, tem um jiu-jitsu bom, ali a parte de queda ele evoluiu bastante, eu sei que ele está treinando bastante o wrestling na academia dele, é um lutador que procura ser completo, então não é um cara a ser subestimado, mas eu estou pronto, eu sou melhor do que ele em todas as áreas e ele vai ser eliminado na próxima rodada.
So Pedro's a really good fighter. He's a kickboxer. He switches stances. He trains a lot of wrestling. He's a very formidable opponent in this tournament. But I'm ready for this fight. I'm ready to eliminate him and move on in the tournament. I respect him as a fighter, but I'm going for that $1 million.
Steve?
Obrigado, Pitbull. Thank you for the time. And speaking of being respectful and having respect, Pedro may have said something that would not sound good to you. He said you like to play the victim, and therefore you can be the hero when you beat the villain in the fight. Is he talking out of his ass?
Ele que falou, você gosta de falar, tipo, que você é vítima, é um personagem de vítima, tipo, então se você perde, você vai ter desculpas quando você perde. Tipo assim, você acha que ele está falando para entrar na sua cabeça? Quais são os pensamentos sobre isso?
Eu não sei nem o que esse cara tá falando. Se eu perder, acontece. Nós estamos no esporte para vencer e perder. Mas eu me vejo como lutador melhor que ele. Se for o destino de eu perder para ele, fazer o quê? Acontece. Mas eu tô aqui, eu tô pronto para batê-lo. Não sei o que ele tá dizendo, não entendi nada.
I have no idea what he's talking about. We're in the fight game. Anybody can win or lose. Of course, anytime I step in that cage, I can lose. But I'm the winningest fighter in Bellator history. I'm coming for that $1 million.
E eu me vejo como lutador melhor que ele.
And I see myself as a better fighter. I see myself as a better fighter than he is.
Speaking of being the winningest fighter, obviously Michael Chandler would have loved to have taken that spot from you, but he left and went to UFC. Do you think he ran away from a rematch with you?
Você acha que ele estava fugindo de revanche com você quando ele foi para UFC, Michael Chandler?
Eu acho, talvez, eu não estou certo disso não. Mas eu sei que ele não quer lutar comigo de novo. Ele sabe que no jogo dele não se encaixa com o meu. Eu tenho o número dele. Mas foi bom. Ele lá, ele pode bater nos caras lá, ele pode ser campeão. E ele sendo campeão, eu sou o único cara que fez ele beijar a lona.
Yeah, I mean, he's over there. That's great. But I beat him. I'm the only one that put the champion on the canvas. He knows I have his number, so it's possible that he did go over there for that reason. But I could say that he has all the ability to beat those guys over there as well. He can beat all those guys over there. It's just that he can't beat me because I have his number. So he can very well go on to become a world champion in the UFC with the skills that he has. But he knows he'll never beat me.
Very good. Mucho obrigado. Have a great fight Thursday.
Obrigado. Até quinta-feira.
How you like my ad lib?
All right, we'll go to Jim.
I gave him $8 million.
Jim Barcelona, your line is live.
We gotta get Pitbull Brothers versus SBG, baby.
Okay, we'll try Simon. Your line is live.
Hey, Patricio, Simon from MMA Island. I just gotta ask you here. Holding one belt is difficult, and winning two is a task not many could even imagine. Is it fair to say you feel like you've done it all throughout your whole career?
É justo para falar que porque você tem 2 cinturões, você é um champion, que você faz tudo que você quiser em sua carreira?
Não. Não entendi.
Você realizar todas suas metas dentro da MMA?
Não.
Sendo champion?
Não, eu acho que falta mais um pouco. Eu quero bater mais alguns recordes, defender o cinturão. Eu ainda sou novo, tenho 33 anos agora. Então eu tenho muita coisa ainda para mostrar. Estou numa situação boa, eu sei disso. Mas tem muita rivalidade acontecendo. A Pitbull Brothers tem grandes talentos que podem enfrentar os caras da Irlanda, da SBG. E vamos fazer esse desafio acontecer. Meu irmão está contra Peter Quill agora. Ia ser uma coisa boa. Então tem muita coisa ainda, muito capítulo para contar dessa história.
No, I have a lot left to do in MMA. I have a lot of objectives, a lot of more new records that I want to break for Bellator, 3-category champ. Records like that, things that have never been done before. And then I have the Pitbull Brothers along with my brother fighting SBG and Patricio fighting Peter Queally soon. So there's a lot of stuff on the horizon for myself and the Pitbull Brothers. We have a rivalry with SBG and the Pitbull Brothers. Leandro Alter Ego versus James Gallagher is another fight we're really interested in. And the Pitbull Brothers versus SBG is the is a big rivalry that's ahead of us. So there's a lot more chapters and a lot more conquering to happen in the future.
Talking about chapters and breaking records, would you ever consider the option of moving to the UFC?
Eu já pensei em cross promotion. Acho que o futuro do esporte é botar os campeões para se enfrentarem para a gente saber realmente quem é o melhor.
Yes, I've already spoke about cross promotion. I think that's the future of MMA. The landscape is changing with the new government possibly, and cross promotion is the best way to find out who truly is the best fighter at each weight class, and I know I am.
All right, well,
I know he is.
We'll go back to Jim.
All right, thank you. Sorry about that before. Okay, who's with you for this fight?
¿Quién está con você para essa luta?
Meu corner?
Sim.
Everton Lopes, bicampeão mundial de boxe, meu treinador de boxe. Eric Abarassi, da seleção americana de wrestling, é um dos caras mais sinistros que tem tecnicamente. Meu irmão me viu nascer, sabe minhas todas as técnicas. E um dos caras mais sinistros do Brasil, do karatê, Mano Santana.
And Patricio,
So
go ahead, sorry.
Who's here is Everton Lopez, two-time Olympian, two-time amateur boxing world champion. My brother, the king of Bellator knockouts, Captain Eric Alberison, Team USA wrestling member, and technical coach, and Mano Santana, also Team Brazil and black belt in karate. He's one of my technical striking coaches.
This is assembled quite a team. I'm curious, Patricio, just how important to your career are all these people that have been around you and the team itself and doing everything together as a team? I know it's an individual sport, but you all have really built a great team.
Fala sobre você bater todos os seus recordes. Fala tão importante uma equipe bom para disciplinar você com uma equipe bom, como você fez.
Quando a gente está numa era, eu estou numa era eu consigo bater todos os lutadores dessa geração. Então eu estou fazendo isso por 10 anos. Então eu já enfrentei várias eras e já dominei elas. Eu estou entrando na nova geração agora, você vê Pedro Carvalho, eu acho que ele tem 24 anos. E estou assistindo vários caras novos aí, AJ McKee, vários caras com a idade praticamente 10 anos a menos que eu. E eu continuo dominando todas essas eras. Então eu vim para cravar a história, para entrar na história do MMA. Eu já estou na história desse esporte. Então eu quero fazer isso mais algumas vezes. Girar a categoria e sair limpando todo mundo. Então a equipe é muito importante para isso, que eu sempre vou evoluindo com ela.
The team you surround yourself with is very important. They have to evolve with you as well as you evolve. As you see, there's generations in MMA. I started this game 10 years ago, and I've been able to dominate in every era since. And now there's a new era, there's a new generation of fighters. Pedro Carvalho is one of them, being 23, 24 years old. AJ McKee is another one. And I've been, these guys are the new generation coming up, and I'm here and I'm dominating them. And I'm still dominating them. So the team you have around, or the team I have around me is the reason why I've been able to dominate throughout all the eras of MMA.
Toda geração que chega pensando que vai enfrentar Patricio Pitbull, ele já enfrenta um novo lutador diferente. Então sempre eu estou me reinventando.
So every new generation comes up saying they want to beat Patricio Pitbull. I fight them, and then they become a new fighter after I beat them. So I'm reinventing this new generation. They're all improving as they try to keep up with me from how I'm able to dominate in each era of the generation, and I attribute that to you got to have good coaches around you with that evolve with you.
Thank you, Pitbull.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Steven.
Hey, Pitbull, you mentioned your brother earlier. How is he doing after his bout of labyrinthitis?
Como está seu irmão depois de ter esse caso de labirinte?
Ele tá se tratando, mas ainda não está curado.
So he's getting it treated. It's not yet finished being cured.
How long did it take him to get over that? What he suffered on fight night, and is this, when you talk about treatment, what do you mean by that? Is this going to be something that's going to be a concern going forward?
Quando você fala sobre tratamento, o que você está falando? Isso vai afetar ele no futuro?
Eu já senti 2 vezes lutando. Eu não senti nada antes e senti 2 vezes lutando. Isso é hereditário, vem da nossa família. Então a gente tem que esperar passar os sintomas.
Yeah, this is something that we've had in our family before, and we just gotta wait for his symptoms to go away, and he'll be back.
Have you ever suffered from it?
Eu senti 2 vezes lutando.
I've had it twice while fighting.
Wow. What was that like?
Como foi isso?
Uma vez contra Jadson Costa em Natal, ele deu com o ombro no meu queixo e minha cabeça bateu no ringue. E quando eu subi vendo 3 lutadores, minha cabeça estava embaçado. E outra vez foi com o Joe Warren. Mesma coisa, ele me botou para baixo, deu umas pancadas, fiquei vendo visão.
The first time it happened, it was against Jadson Costa. Yeah, I think it was a shoulder to the head to my chin that hit the back of my head on the mat, and when I got back to my feet, I was seeing 3 blurry people. So it also happened again against Joe Warren. That same type of situation, being blurry and seeing 3 Joes after something like that, banging my head on the mat.
Wow. Did watching Anderson Silva fight the other week make you think at all about your career, how you want to go out, how you want to leave the sport, and what you want to accomplish by the time you decide to hang it up?
Essa luta com Anderson deixou você pensando como você quer sair do esporte, como você quer aposentar, como você vai sair do esporte. Esse deixa você pensando nisso?
O auge de Anderson Silva foi, eu acho que foi na minha idade. Então tem muita coisa para mostrar ainda, mas com certeza a minha categoria é uma categoria mais explosiva, com mais potência. Os lutadores dependem mais disso. E eu sei que eu tenho que, querendo ou não é hora, assim, a gente sabe que agora não é o momento de eu parar, mas querendo ou não, mais 10 anos aqui é muita coisa para mim. Eu sei que eu vou fazer uma história bonita e depois eu não vou querer servir de escada para ninguém. Quando chegar o meu momento, eu vou saber, e talvez eu continue lutando depois de velho, mas contra caras que têm a mesma história parecida com a minha, e eu continue fazendo super lutas contra caras que têm a história parecida, com caras que foram campeões, com caras que têm a minha idade. E eu acho que até o MMA, o UFC, Bellator e as grandes organizações deveriam pensar numa categoria de machos, os caras mais velhos enfrentando caras mais velhos e lutando de igual para igual, porque a gente sabe que a idade chega para todo mundo, e mesmo que você esteja um grande lutador, você lutando contra um cara muito mais novo, pode fazer uma diferença grande na hora do combate.
So it doesn't, I haven't really thought about retiring. Obviously, as a fighter, one day you have to retire. Everybody has to retire. Father Time is undefeated, but I don't think about that. You know, I am in a tougher weight class than I'm at 145 pounds, where these guys are real fast.
Anderson Silva teve seu prime time na mesma idade que eu.
And Anderson Silva was in his prime at this same age as me. So these guys are a little bit faster, a little bit explosiver as you get lower in weight, and so you can't stay on top forever. That's obvious. But now is not the time for me to be thinking about retiring. or anything like that. It happens to all of us. O final que você estava falando? Masters. But, you know, there's these, I believe there should be a great, like a legendary category, Masters category, where some of these guys that are a little bit older, that have great histories, that are legends in the sport, they can fight each other. That's another reason for great cross promotion, like we've seen before, is these older guys fighting, or legends fighting legends, as opposed to fighting somebody 15 years or 10 years much younger than you, because eventually, I mean, Father Time catches up with you, and it gets tougher and tougher to fight the younger guys. So I would love to see something like that with a Masters division, cross-promotion divisions, legends against legends.
And one last question, if I could. Does Bellator keep, I don't know if this actually applies, so forgive me if it doesn't, but does Bellator keep you and SBG fighters apart when you're at the host hotel? I remember when you got into it with Will Brooks about 5 years ago, and it didn't go very well. Do they take the similar precautions here?
Ele falou que se SBG e Pitbull vão estar separados, tipo, no hotel, tipo, porque o que aconteceu com você é o Will Brooks, na época, né? Tá falando se essa rivalidade é tipo assim.
Sim, sempre o Bellator coloca lutadores num hotel diferente, numa torre diferente, mas somos lutadores civilizados, a não ser que eles falem muito, eles gostam de falar demais. Desde que eles não falem besteira, não queria desafiar, a coisa vira pessoal, mas geralmente tem algum segurança nos acompanhando e deixando a gente em áreas separadas.
Yes, they always separate the Pitbull's opponents from us. So it's, but you know, we're civil fighters, we're professionals, and but even so, Pitbull Brothers always has security. The Pitbull Brothers always has security by our side, and just in case.
All right, we'll go to Donna.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Donna Corby here. Eric, I want to hear from you as well in here. Are you able to jump in, or is that allowed?
All allowed.
I want to hear about the travel. I know that Leandro Ego had some problems with the travel for his fight. He struggled with the weight cut because of it, and of course, Patricio had his health issues. Obviously, not related to travel necessarily. But how was the? How did you guys find the trip getting over to America this time? A lot smoother, and there won't be any problems with that.
Ele falou sobre como foi a viagem aqui, porque a última vez seu irmão pegou o labirinto, o Leandro bateu peso. Como foi a viagem desta vez?
Daquela vez nós tivemos problemas de autorização de entrar nos Estados Unidos, então a gente perdeu 2 dias no aeroporto. Isso acabou prejudicando o Leandro, que ficou com a alimentação inadequada, a gente não conseguiu fazer os treinamentos corretos, que estava previsto para ele ir descendo de peso. Então na reta final isso fez uma diferença. E o meu irmão, infelizmente, ele teve uma crise de labirintite na semana da luta. Nós pensávamos que era por causa da descida de peso, que ele estava tonto, mas logo após ele recuperar o peso e a gente dar aquele treino pré-luta, ele ficou muito tonto e eu fui obrigado a cancelar o combate. Dessa vez foi diferente, né? Se trata de pessoas diferentes. Cheguei um dia antes do previsto aqui, a semana foi boa, a meta do peso está bem, eu estou bem de saúde, não me sinto com nenhum problema, estou pronto para defender o título.
You have to motivate me for that one.
Let's go, Captain.
All right, let me see if I can get all that. Hey, I almost forgot the whole question. Repeat the question, I got the answer.
It was about the travel and how Leandro had some issues.
So yeah, you know, the travel last time, there was problems at the airport. We spent 2 days in the airport, and actually that kind of made the difference for Leandro making weight, because he has a very controlled weight cut, a very controlled taper, which includes trainings that we missed. And so that was a big difference, and that made a big difference in him making the cut. So he missed it by a little bit. And then my brother, you know, I'm not sure if it was the weight cut that triggered his labyrinthe, but I think it's like Meniere's disease. But he just, it didn't happen during the weight cut, but it was happened during the warm up to the fight. I noticed something was off with him, and then I felt obligated. He told me what was wrong, and then I felt obligated to cancel the fight. This time, there was no problems at the airport. We actually came a day earlier than expected to prepare for any possible problems. And so far, there's no problems, and I'm ready to fight. I'm prepared. I prepared well, and I'm ready.
And Eric, while I have you here, I want to know, is Triple C going into The Ultimate Fighter as the coach?
Well, City Kickboxing and Alex Volkanovski, they've kind of avoided Patricio Pitbull. Patricio Pitbull actually was willing to bet $1 million with Dana White to do a cross promotion. So far, we haven't heard anything back. So if they are not willing to fight Patricio Pitbull, I think I'm not sure what's going to happen with Triple C. Triple C is the greatest combat athlete of all time, and if you were Volkanovski, that would be a fight that should intrigue him, but I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like it intrigues him. But maybe the Ultimate Fighter can entice him. Henry's the king of cringe. He brings a lot of ratings to ESPN. It'll be the first ESPN Ultimate Fighter, so it's possible that could intrigue him. A lot of people don't know who Volkanovski is, so this is a way to get himself out there and amplify him. And who better to do it against than the king of cringe, Triple C, trying to become C4. So I think it's a great idea, and I hope he does accept it. I hope it does happen. We did Tough 24, which was Henry versus Joe Benavidez. It was a great experience, and that was like the catapult to Henry becoming Triple C. So hopefully we can do it again and get the first Ultimate Fighter on ESPN. That'd be great. But I would say first I'd like to see him accept that $1 million bet by Patricio Pitbull. That's what I'd like to see. We still I think there's still a rivalry there. City Kickboxing.
We'll have time for 2 more questions. Santiago?
Hi, Patricio. Boa tarde and greetings from Amsterdam. You have already done 3 featherweight tournaments with Bellator, and you won 2 of them. Do you enjoy competing in these tournaments, or is it different now that you are the current champion of the division?
Você gosta de competir nesse torneio? Você já ganhou 2, estava no final de outro. Você ainda gosta de lutar no torneio, ou é diferente porque você é o champion?
Eu tinha essa opção de ficar de fora do torneio e lutar apenas contra o campeão do GP, mas eu gosto de desafio e eu me coloquei nessa situação de entrar lá no meio de todos os lutadores e lutar no meio deles e realmente provar que eu sou o melhor da história.
I had the option to not fight in this tournament and just fight the winner of the Grand Prix tournament. But I put myself in the tournament. I'm here to show that I am the best fighter in the world. And when I win the tournament, everybody know I'm the best featherweight in MMA, pound for pound.
All right, my last question will go to Lenny.
Hello, Patricio. How are you? Wait, can you hear me?
Great.
Oh, yeah, you can hear me, yeah. So I just, a while back, I heard Captain America say that the Pitbulls versus the SBG. Can I get why the rivalry and the personal vendetta against the SBG, and why do you want to beat them so bad?
Porque você tem uma rivalidade com o SBG. Ela é viva a gente falando sobre Pitbulls contra o SBG.
É um grande time é uma grande equipe que está na organização. Eu acho que o Bellator merece essa rivalidade. Os fãs querem. Eles falam muito. Tem James Gallagher na 61 que fala merda pra caralho. Chegou falando merda, chegou de 66, levou pau, baixou pra 61, levou pau de novo. Leandro desafia ele não aceita. Tem Peter Quill contra meu irmão, chegou falando merda também, vai apanhar. Tem agora Pedro Carvalho, vai ser o primeiro para entrar na porrada. Então é isso, nós temos lutadores da mesma divisão, os caras falam muito e vão ter que entrar na chibata aqui.
So, yeah, I mean, they're a great team. You know, they have a lot of good fighters there, but they talk a lot of shit. You know, these guys, James Gallagher came to my weight class, got his ass whooped, dropped another weight class, got his ass whooped again. His brother, Peter Quealy is fighting my brother. He's been talking a lot of shit. He's going to get his ass whooped. You know, we have Pedro Carvalho. Pedro Carvalho's been talking smack, and I'm going to take care of him on Thursday. So, you know, there's a rivalry. These guys talk shit, and that's what the fight game's about. We get to enter the cage and whoop their ass for it. So, yes, they're a great team, but there's a rivalry, Pitbull Brothers versus SBG. So, as a coach, I love it. I think as a coach, I like these rivalries. I mean, we're a small team, you know, the Pitbull Brothers. We're from a little beach town in northeast Brazil, and we're taking on the greatest teams. I mean, we fought. Leandro fought AKA last fight, or 2 fights ago. Last fight, he fought American Top Team. You know, Patricios fought American Top Team. Patricios fought, just all the biggest teams out there, those super teams. Sanford MMA. And these rivalries are good. Bellator deserves it. The fans deserve it. And I think I love to see that the Pitbull Brothers is up there in my consideration, probably the #1 team in the world. So it's good to have a bullseye on your back, and it's not just we're the ones with the belts, not SVG. So really, the rivalry is them wanting what we have. They want our gold. Portugal wants the Brazilians' gold again, but it's not going to happen. Not this time. Not with Patricio Pitbull at the helm, who I think is pound for pound the best fighter on the planet, regardless of promotion. And if you don't believe me, just watch. Tune in November 12th, CBS Sports Network.
All right. Thank you very much, Patricio. We're all done, and we'll be joined here momentarily by Aaron Pico. All right, we're now being joined by Aaron Pico. If you have any questions for Aaron, use the raise hand button. We'll start with Steve Jewin. Your line is live.
Aaron, as always, thank you for the time today. And we heard from Lucas Brennan earlier, and he said it's an honor to be on a card with guys like yourself and Pitbull, guys that were fighting before he even had his first fight. What does it mean to you when you hear other fighters talk about you in that way?
Well, I think it's a good thing. I really haven't given it much thought. I think for me, I'm like, I consider myself still young in my career, so it's honestly a little funny to hear, but I take it as a good compliment for sure.
And what do you make of John DeJesus as your opponent here? He's a guy coming in on 3 straight wins, including his Bellator debut. Where does that put him?
Yeah, he's a very tough opponent, and one thing for sure, he's very, very confident.
very good striker. I know I've seen him around here in the hotel lobby. He's not lacking confidence. He's I know he's going to come with everything that he's got, and it's going to be a good test for me. But I feel I'm well prepared, and my coaches. It was a great camp for us, so I'm ready for anything that he throws at us. But he's no slouch for sure. So I'm excited to step in the cage Thursday.
Last one from me. Speaking of your coaches in your camp, how has training changed during the pandemic for you?
Yeah, it's changed. A lot of my work is in the garage and a lot of private stuff with my coaches. Of course, I got to get sparring. So, but it's limited as far as how many people are in the gym. But a lot of sessions in the garage, a lot of one-on-ones with the jiu-jitsu, just me and my coach Tusa, and it's changed. But in today's society, you gotta adapt, and I have a job to do, so we gotta find a way.
All right, we'll go to Rick Wright.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good, thanks. Talking to Christian Edwards before his last fight, he said even though he misses his family in Oklahoma, he considers himself an Albuquerquean. Where are you in that process? How often do you go back to California? How much time do you spend in Albuquerque?
Yeah, I don't really go back to California all that much just because all my training is in Albuquerque, but I'm permanently in Albuquerque. My girlfriend and I just bought our first home, so we are based in New Mexico now. We really, really love it there. We're excited to be there. But it is a little bit of an adjustment for me. I can't see my family all that much, to be honest with you. I don't really see my mom and dad and my brother and my grandparents all too much, just because I'm training in New Mexico. So after this fight, it's going to be good. I'll go down for Christmas and see them. But yeah, it's the good thing is that I've met a lot of great people in Albuquerque. Just outside the gym, my neighbors are great, and I've met a lot of welcoming people that have brought me into their families in New Mexico. So it feels good. It feels good to be surrounded by good people in New Mexico. So,
Have you got your horses out here in Albuquerque?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, my horses have been out there for a year and a half. My dog's out there. Luckily for me, at first I was renting home, and I had the stalls in the backyard, and they had an arena. Now that I just purchased the home, the stalls are being built. There's an arena in the backyard right now, so it's good for my lifestyle, and I love it in Albuquerque. Of course, I love Whittier, California. That's where I was born and raised, and that will always be my home as well. But New Mexico is my new home, and my girlfriend and I are very, very happy to be there. I can't say enough good things. The people there have really been excited to share their culture with me, and there's so much to learn about New Mexico, and I'm still learning. But the most important thing is the people there have been excited to share it with me, and it makes it that much more special to be there.
I'm assuming Greg will be cornering for you on Thursday. Who else is there for you?
Yeah, it'll be Coach Greg, Coach Brandon Gibson, and Roberto Alencar is my jiu-jitsu coach. So those three.
Great. Thanks, Aaron. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Giancarlo.
Hi, Aaron. You fought on the first card back there in July. Was there a mental hurdle fighting with no fans, or was it a lot easier for you knowing that you can hear your coaches much clearer?
Well, thankful for me that my fight was only 2 minutes, so I didn't really give it much thought. I was really in the zone, so I didn't really give it much thought. But one thing that I can say is that leading up to the fight, the whole process that they have here, that Bellator has laid out, is I believe one of the best. It makes the fight week go so much more smoother. And I really hope that when all this COVID-19 is over, that it could still be ran like this. But I can really say that I'm enjoying the process leading up to the fight a lot better. You get your own locker rooms. You're away from a lot of people. You don't really have to deal with who's going to be in the sauna, or you're going to be able to get a sauna or a treadmill. Everything is right then and right there. So I've enjoyed the process. My last fight was only 2 minutes, thank God, and I didn't really give it much thought. So overall, I'm really, really liking this.
And final one for me, looking around this featherweight division, you're coming off 2 back-to-back wins. What have you learned about yourself as a fighter during this time?
Well, what I've really learned as a fighter is that I'm very strong. I've had to bounce back. Obviously, in my past, I've taken some devastating losses, and it's one thing that I have a big heart. I've got a strong team that will pick me up. I can pick myself up, and through the losses I've bounced back with 2 great finishes, and that's really good for me. So. One thing that I don't take winning for granted. There's a lot of work that needs to be done because I've lost and I know what it feels like. So I put in so much work going into fights just because I know what it feels like to lose, and I never take winning for granted. So overall, I can say one thing that I'm strong mentally.
All right, we'll go to Dan.
Hey, Aaron, how you doing today?
I'm doing good, Dan. How are you?
Very good. So last fight out was your first win via submission in the Bellator cage. You were talking about being a complete fighter and working in a more diverse game. Is that something you think about each time out? And in regards to your upcoming fight, do you rely on working on wrestling ability more, or do you focus power or in this sense?
I missed the last bit of the question. Can you repeat it, please?
Yes, sorry about that. Becoming a complete fight. Oh, sorry. As a complete fighter that you're trying to look for, what do you attempt to do from your last fight to this fight as you're looking to become more of a wrestler this time around, or more of a power type puncher? Is there a time where you have to think about what you want to do more the next time out?
No, not necessarily. Of course, outside of camp and during camp, we're focusing on everything. But when you go into the fight, and one thing that Coach Greg Jackson tells me is that I don't want to feel like I have to do one thing, that I have to be desperate to shoot, or I have to be desperate to get the knockout. Just let the fight come. Let it happen, and don't think about going in for the kill. It's gonna sound kind of funny, but the analogy that he kind of uses is that when you first meet a girl, you don't want to seem desperate, like I have to get the job done. No, relax a little bit, go out to dinner, let it build up, and when it's time to go, it's time to go. But that's how I feel like it is with the fight. I mean, don't be desperate, like I have to take him down or I have to knock him out. Oh, relax in there. Yeah, of course, you want to be aware, you want to be intensity, but when it's time to seal the deal, do it.
Fantastic analogy right there. And as young as you are, you've had a lot of experience already. What would you say to your debuting self, just to get to where you are right now, potentially on a 3-fight win streak, to where you were back in 2017, what would you say to that young Aaron Pico?
What I would say is the team that I have now, everybody in the management that I have now, the team that I have, go with them. That's what I would tell myself. But if I was in the cage, I would tell myself, I would just tell myself to relax in there, But the thing is that I wasn't really able to relax because I just wasn't confident in my skills. Of course, I had good wrestling, I had good boxing, but the fight game is a different story. And I had a rude awakening early on that it's not as easy as just going in there and knocking somebody out. There's so many aspects of this game that I just wasn't aware of. So for me, I probably would have told myself, take it a little bit easier. Fighting Madison Square Garden on pay-per-view against a guy that's 9-2, that far for an RFA title, probably wasn't the smartest thing to do. And I probably would have, if I would tell myself to go back, I'd probably tell myself, don't sign the contract. See if there's some other opponents that I can go against. But being me and my pride, I said I'll fight anybody in the world, and that is true now because I'm very, very confident in my skills. Back then, I really, really wasn't. I was just a young, hungry fighter that just believed in my hands and didn't really want to wrestle all that much because I really wasn't all that comfortable on the ground, to be honest with you. And now I'm really happy with my development because I'm I know what I know now. I mean, I've been caught and I've had a lot of things happen, and there's only one thing, is that you have to adapt. You could either just quit or you could adapt. And luckily for me, I adapted. I found the right team. I found the right management. And I thank God every day for those losses. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but I wouldn't have the team that I have now. So I'm thankful. And that's the past, and I'm looking forward to the future.
Thank you, Aaron. Good luck.
Thank you.
Donna?
Hi, Aaron. How's it going?
Hey, it's going good. How are you?
Not too bad. Of course, Henry Corrales and Adam Baric, you're going to have so much time down the line to be back amongst those guys. Does it ever irritate you that you never got the chance to get back in there with Zach Freeman, though?
Absolutely. I'm very competitive. I would love to get back in there with him. I don't know if he's fighting or what he's doing now.
He's pretty much done, I think.
Yeah, he's pretty much done. Nothing against him. Yeah, he got a win over me. He beat me fair and square, so I don't really know what to say other than, I take my losses like a man. And to answer your question, it bugs the shit out of me that I can't get a rematch with him, for sure.
When you look at the state of the division, so there have been people who've said maybe you were rushed into certain fights or whatever, but you've beaten some really good guys. You're against John DeJays is another step up again from the level you would have started back at after the Baric fight. And the division is kind of locked up for a while anyway. The title's not going to be going anywhere for like a year, maybe, if even. So do you kind of view that timeline as working for you? Like, you want to be in the title picture by the time whoever the new champion ends up being in a year's time is actually ready to defend it?
Well, I can tell you this. I can tell you that the most important thing for me is to focus on the fight that I have now. And in the future, to be honest with you, I don't really know. I don't really know what that entails. I'm not looking really too far in the future. Of course, I have short-term goals, but I have to basically trust in the process and control what I can control now, and that's fighting John De Jesus on Thursday. The future, like you said, it's locked up in a year. I don't know what's going to happen. But all I can tell you is that whoever the champion is or whatever is going on, I'm just going to be prepared for whoever they throw in front of me. And I don't know who that's going to be, but my job is to go out there, represent Bellator, represent myself, and do the best that I possibly can. And that's all that I can control. So the future.
Who's going to win this main event, do you think? Pitbull or Carvalho?
I really think Pitbull is going to win. I think Pitbull is one of the best fighters in the world, to be honest with you, top 5 for sure. He has a really good, he's been in there with a lot of guys. He has a lot of experience, and I don't think Pedro Carvalho has fought the level of competition like a Pitbull. Of course, you always got to take a step up and make that jump, but I just don't think he's ready yet. But it is a big fight. He's gotten himself to this point, so he's a very good fighter. And I have nothing bad to say about him. He's gotten himself a title shot, but I just don't think he has the ump to beat Pitbull. He's a very good fighter. So, but it's going to be interesting. Anything could happen in the fight game. I know that for sure. So it's going to be interesting.
Santiago?
Hi, Aaron. Greetings from Amsterdam. How much has Coach... I'm doing fine. Thank you so much for asking. How much has Coach Anthony McKee meant for you in the beginning of your career?
Say that again. I couldn't hear you towards the end.
I'm sorry. How much has Coach Anthony McKee meant for you in the beginning of your career?
Antonio McKee was great. I really liked being at the body shop with those guys. I really did. He has a lot of energy, and he's very passionate about fighting, and his knowledge is very good. So he was very influential. He showed me a lot of good things, talked very positive to me. And one thing about us is that we still keep in contact. To talk to AJ, those guys are my family. We grew up together, so I have nothing but love for those guys. And I wish them all the best of luck and success in their career.
You are a true finisher, Aaron. All of your wins have been insane finishes. Can you feel it as well, that you are a true fan favorite while only being 24 years of age?
Oh, I hope so. I really do. I try to go out there and put on good fights. Sometimes I'm a little too crazy and things have happened, but yeah, I haven't really given it much thought as far as being a fan favorite. All I can do is go out there and be exciting, but all through wrestling and being a young kid, and I've always been exciting whatever I did. So I think it's translating into fighting, but all I got to do is go out there and be smart and ultimately get the W. But if I can do that in an exciting fashion, that's just icing on the cake.
Good luck on fight night, sir.
Thank you.
Simon
Romero from MMA Island. How are you doing today, Mr. Aaron Pico?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. I appreciate you for asking. So I have this question here for you. A lot of younger individuals look up to you because they can kind of relate to you, I guess. What advice could you give them to stay on the right path and get where you are and where you are heading in your future?
Well, one thing that I can tell younger guys, whatever it is in life, is that just take your time and be patient and just be consistent at whatever you do. That's the most important thing in life, is just being consistent at whatever you do. Don't be in a rush. Don't try to rush anything. Take your time. Listen to whoever it is, wise people around you, the veterans, the older people, and just try to be the best that you can possibly be. The biggest thing I can say is just be consistent on whatever you do, for sure.
Awesome. So I appreciate the time, and best of luck on Thursday night.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take one more question here from Rick.
Hey, Aaron, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Okay, my question is going to this fight, if there's any pressure going to there or any with this fight going on?
Of course, there's always pressure, for sure, especially guys that are fighting me. They really don't have anything to lose. So, of course, there's a lot of pressure on me, but that is just part of the process. That's something that you have to learn to deal with in this game. So, to answer your question, yeah, there is pressure on me, for sure.
All right. Thank you very much, Aaron. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys.
We'll be joined here shortly by Keri Melendez. Okay, we're now being joined by Keri Melendez. If you have a question for Keri, go ahead and press the raise hand button. We will start with Steve. Your line is live.
Hi, Keri. This is Steve Juen from MMA Mania. How are you doing today?
Well, very well. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for asking. And this is a very interesting fight you've got coming up with Emily King, because she's somebody who started out her career 0-3 and then reeled off 4 straight wins in a row. So how do you see that evolution as somebody that's won 4 fights in a row yourself?
I think she's, in my mind, she's 4-0 right now. And she just took out a world champ boxer. So I respect the heck out of that. And I'm picturing her as to be the best Taekwondo athlete out there, the best grappler, and I prepared for that. And I think she's going to come ready. I'm ready to bring it to her.
And as for somebody that's been a legend in the sport, your husband, El Nino Gilbert Melendez, what's the chances we could get to see him on a card with you, a husband and wife duo headlining a Bellator event?
Oh my goodness, that's a second person to ask me that. I don't know. I think you would have to ask him. Right now, when we've discussed it, if we didn't have a daughter, it would be easy. But we have a daughter, so it's a little bit difficult. One of us has to give more attention to our daughter. But money talks, and if Bellator wants to make that happen, we'd be down.
All right, we'd be down too. Thank you, Keri.
All right, we'll go to Luis.
Hey, you hear me?
It's a little choppy, but yeah.
Hi, we can't see a lot of strawweight fighters in Bellator. Do you think you deserve be the first strawweight champion of Bellator?
I would like Scott Coker to bring in a tournament, and I would really like to prove that I can be the strawweight champion. But if he doesn't want to do that, this is my last fight on my contract, and I'm ready to move up to 125. I think I can bang with the whole division there, and just let me get in my 125 body, and I'll be ready to make some action happen in that, in that division. Staying with Bellator.
Thank you.
All right, Simon.
Hey, Keri, how's it going today?
Very well, thank you.
Sí, me agarraste como muy desprevenido.
We all good?
Yeah, sorry about that.
You're good. So you're originally scheduled to fight Emily a little while ago. What improvements have you made since you were originally supposed to fight Emily?
I'm always improving. Of course, she's been in the back of my mind knowing that I was going to fight her, but just generally improving on my game, even my mental game at home with Gilbert, discussing, analyzing fights together. We're always all about it. So I think I'm always evolving, but I pictured Emily to be the best Southpaw Taekwondo person there was out there, the best grappler, being able to push me against the cage. If I did get taken down, getting back up, finishing her on top, on bottom, through any strike that I want. But I made her out to be this monster, so I can really, really prepare for her.
Perfect. I appreciate the time, and best of luck on.
All right, we will go to Jim Barcelona. Your line is live.
Yeah, thank you. Gilbert and yourself, I'm wondering, how much time do you guys take not talk about fighting? Is there a time where you guys are like, okay, you know what? We have the child, let's do something, whatever. We're not going to talk about fighting, because you're both fighters and you're both so into it.
It's pretty hard in the Melendez household not to talk about fighting. It's always coming up, or we're always analyzing, or we're talking about the practice and little improvements that we both can make, asking each other like, hey, what do you think if this person does this? Coming up with new techniques, new training methods. And our daughter is the one that has to put us in line and be like, that's enough, mom and dad, let's just watch a movie, or let's not talk about fighting. So, our beautiful little daughter brings us back to living a little normal life.
And Keri, what can you say about the evolution of women, especially in combat sports, and just how much pride you take in doing what you're doing and maybe opening doors to others?
I take so much pride in representing women, and there was so many women before me that I respect that. Wow, they've really done a wonderful job. And I have a young daughter, a 10-year-old daughter, who looks up to her mother, who does this, who just is such a fan of me, and who motivates me to do better and to really represent well for the women. So I'm lucky to be a part of, helping develop women's MMA, and just all the women before me. I respect them so much, who did it for pennies. There was no media for them, so they really paved the way. And I'm lucky to be in the middle of it, and hoping that just in case my daughter wants to fight, that she can really, really make a living off it.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go to Donna.
Hey, Keri, how's it going?
Hi, very well. I hope you're well too.
Thank you. To follow up on what we just talked about, I spoke to Katie Taylor earlier today, and in boxing, there's been this whole discussion because she's obviously defending her title on this all-women's card over the weekend in the UK, and she was discussing how when she was growing up, there wasn't, if you wanted to be a boxer or you wanted to be a fighter, you had to watch, your Chris Eubanks, you had to watch your Muhammad Ali's, your Mike Tyson's. There weren't girls to watch. Does that do you feel the importance of your role whenever you step out there on such a big stage like Bellator?
I definitely do. I really want to represent for all the ladies out there. I want to represent for the mothers out there, and knowing that they could do it too. I'm also a business owner, so I have a lot of things going on, and being able to live a dream is definitely, I want to show, all the women in the world that you can do it too. So I do feel happy. And I agree with Katie Taylor. Back in the day, like even when I was training 14 years ago, there wasn't that much of a place for women. There wasn't very many women in the gym. Now I have a whole women's team. I have two corner women, Leslie Smith and Shinju Eclair, and they're both fighters.
You've got a great relationship with Bellator, but I wanted to pick up on what you said. The contract is almost up. Is the plan very much to just re-sign, get another contract going? Or, if you win, you're going to be 5-0, and the negotiation leverage would be all in your favor if you wanted to test free agency.
I would love to stay with Bellator and move up to 125 if Scott Coker does not want to make a 115 tournament or be available for some champions and really making that division. I want to stay with Bellator and move up to 125, but I'm open to hear anything out if 115 is available. But my first option would be to stay with Bellator and move up. And if I want to stay at 125, if I want to stay at 115, I think it wouldn't be with Bellator because I want some bigger fights. I want there to be a division. I want the motivation, and I think Emily King is tough as heck, and she's really going to try to take me down, and I don't think I'm going to get credit for when I beat her.
Thank you.
Santiago?
Hi, Keri. Greetings from Amsterdam. There is no Bellator strawweight champion right now. Why do you think that is, and how can we change that?
I wish I was a little bit more active in the 115 division to hopefully really make a scene so that Scott Coker would open up this division and really get motivated to do a strawweight tournament. I don't know why that he's done, Bellator and Scott have done an amazing job really with the 125-pound division. So I think they're focusing on that. And my only hope is they would do a tournament and crown a champion, or else I'm ready to move up to 125.
Talking about that 125 division, there's another fighter, Denise Kielholtz from the Netherlands. She has the same issues like you. Denise is also a strawweight who is now fighting at flyweight. She's doing quite well, going 4-0 in her last 4 fights. She even knocked out her opponent Kate Jackson in a big main event. Did you catch Denise her fight, and what did you make of her performances?
I definitely caught Denise. Definitely watching her. I know she's a kickboxing champ, and I have watched her MMA fights, and I saw her take out Kate Jackson, like you said, and she did a beautiful performance, and I'm definitely keeping my eye out for that.
Last thing, and it's more an announcement. I think there's a 125 tournament coming up. Maybe that's something for you. Good luck on Fight Night, Keri.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take our last question from Dan Yanofsky.
Hey, Keri, how you doing today?
Very well. Hope you're well too.
Thank you. We were talking about before that if you would get this win, you'd be 5-0, and talking about a potential tournament. With the tournament, or with anything in general, comes multiple fights possibly in a year. Seeing how 2020, there wasn't many opportunities to fight, how many times, if in an ideal world, would you like to fight next year after this fight?
I would like to fight at least 3 times. I'm hoping, my goodness, even 4, but 3 would be ideal.
Is there any training involved that you would need to work on, depending on the opponent, I'm sure, and weight class as well? Do you think that would be a definite factor in how many fights you take?
Yes, definitely. I think fighting at 125, I would have to really come into that, get a little stronger, but I would be a lot more, just not having to be so strict with my macros and my diet. So, you know, I'm willing to try it out and to see, you know, I don't know yet how that training would be, but I train year round. There's no real time off.
Well, thank you and good luck this weekend. This week.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Keri. Appreciate your time. And that wraps it up for today. We will see you all back here on Thursday night for the fight.
All right.